sure we're good. Come on, don't be like that, YouTube. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Okay, this is all cooperate. Well, whatever. Probably if I do this. Yep. Sweet. Oh, shit. Shit. There we go. Alright. So I figured, you know, for later tonight we'll do a little true crime stuff, because Vanna was telling me about an update on the JF Garpe story. And I think, yeah, all things considered with the recent shooting too, I might as well fucking kind of delve into that a little bit, because there's been more updates on that too. So a lot of true crime stuff happening. Awesome. But I guess not that that's necessarily like, you know, amazingly great, but whatever, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? Oh, that's just tremendous. What's up, Zeus? Oof. Alright, there we go. Ugh. Hey, Sukov. Hey, he's been a boofball all day today. Dog, really? What? Goofy dog? Good grief. What a little nut. Dude! Alright. I just literally refilled his food and water just before we started this, and he's freaking out over it. What? What, dog? Man. What's up? Okay, I cannot help this dog right now. And he's looking at me like he needs assistance of something. You're not getting it. I don't even know what you want. I already gave you what I want. Goofy dog. I like how he just lets me mess around with his face sometimes. Goof. Goofy little thing. What a sweet little boy, but what a goofball. My goodness. Whatever to do with a little fluff like that. Just being a little goofball. Goofy little thing. There we go. Nice little boom. Man, today has just honestly been kind of like interesting day for fucking news in a way. Especially with like that shooter still has not been caught, but they've done a lot more of a deep dive on like who he is, and of course the background of this guy is pretty fucking typical, and actually my guess about who this dude might have been is actually pretty fucking correct. Yeah, and not, of course, surprised by that whatsoever. Like, the dude is straight up like had like a lot of different background background in things like, you know, watching cat, or like looking at like cat turds fucking like tweets and liking them and sharing them and shit, delving in a lot of right-wing conspiracies and all sorts of shit. So go figure. And was in a mental hospital like earlier in the summer, and was also somebody that, you know, was like delving into a lot of different right-wing conspiracy theories leading up to that, who got diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic, and was an active duty reservist. Like, he had an active military ID, and I honestly can't even fucking fathom how this guy slipped through the fucking cracks like that. And I was listening to Leftist Mafia, and apparently there was like somebody named Ray that donates to their stream, or to their show, I think via like Mike or Matt or whoever, and they work at the fucking bar that this guy shot up, and apparently used to go there all the time, play cornhole with people, and basically knew a lot of people. So this like Ray person kind of was acquainted with this guy, and said that he, you know, didn't really seem like he had many issues up until, you know, that happened, and he saw who it was, recognized him, and just left and fled out for the back with a few people. Which, holy fuck. It's like, I mean, I can't even imagine being that person, being like, oh shit, that's like a person I recognize, and all of a sudden he has a gun shooting everybody up. Better fucking run. It's just like, holy shit, dude. Honestly, like, one thing I really can't fathom about it too much is just like, more or less just like how these type of people slip through the fucking cracks. Which really is just like, you know, such an enforcement of the point that I, you know, say a lot with the whole emphasis that, like, you know, there needs to be a restriction of accessibility. Like, I don't think any, you know, regular Joe Schmo motherfucker should just be able to have, like, a firearm necessarily. As long as they can pass through qualifications, including vigorous mental health checks as well. And we don't have that. Well, and there needs to be. Like, I mean, on top of a background check, there needs to be a mental evaluation check, too. I mean, because if not, then this shit's just going to keep fucking happening, and these right-wing extremists who, you know, tend to also be mentally loose and unstable, you know, are just going to continue these fucking sarcastic terroristic attacks. Like, this guy snapped due to fucking right-wing conspiratorial and, you know, and shit, and fell down the right-wing rabbit hole of being like a fucking extremist. And the guy is still at large, and at least from my understanding, took a fucking boat somewhere like his car's like was abandoned at a boat ramp and likely just jacked a boat or has a boat and just fucking went somewhere. I don't know if it was like on the coast or a river or what, but like that motherfucker's probably not in Maine. Like, the only country he could flee to would basically be fucking Canada, and I don't really see like him going up there unless he's gonna like somehow make himself like get up to like what, the Labrador Strait or some shit. Like, I mean, unless he moves his way up to like Nova Scotia or some shit, or like Prince Edward, but I mean, there ain't no fucking way, bro. I mean, so he's still gonna probably be in Maine or out of state now at this point, somewhere else. And there's just a fucking very strong likelihood this guy is probably going to do these attacks again. Though there's also a possibility he probably shot himself somewhere, because he did apparently, at least, leave a suicide note to one of his kids. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's just like crazy ramblings of a schizophrenic episode, or if he actually generally, wrote that to him. But, I mean, considering he's still at large and they're searching for him, I don't really think that is. I think it was a schizophrenic episode thing. And this guy, for sure, definitely, likely could go for another episode and do another one of these attacks. And I honestly think it's very strongly likely he will. Like, I mean, I kind of feel like they're, not expanding their efforts like it really should be. Because those efforts need to be expanded beyond just, like, what was it, like, Linston? Lentz, or whatever town's called. Because that guy ain't there no more. Like, that dude is sure shit ain't there. Essentially elected Mike Penis with decorum for Speaker MC. Oh my god. Am I going to continuously get reminders of that? I reacted that to last night, and I was just kind of like, well, go figure. They basically got someone like Jim Jordan's or Mike Pence, but just fucking worse. But with, quote, decorum. Like, he's literally like the jack-of-all-trades Republican, which is why they got him. Mike Johnson. I know, dude. Just kind of delving into the kind of intro to our little true crime night. Just kind of talking a little bit about I mean, I'm sure you've probably fucking heard of the shooting that happened in Maine. Because, like, that dude, obviously, as you could probably know, is still at large. Like, they haven't caught him or found him or anything. And and they've been finding out more about who he is. And, of course, I was saying it from the other night when I found out about it, was, like, how much you want to bet this guy's probably, like, some right-winger or some shit. And, of course, he follows Cat Turd, a far-right extremist, Twitter user that spews a bunch of bullshit, and delved into a lot of crazy right-wing conspiracy theories. So, of course, my guess was correct. Pretty much like any of these mass shootings that happen, like, straight up, like, are pretty much done by right-wingers at this point. Like, far-right conspiratorial hardliners and, like, schizophrenic right-wing extremists that basically, snap. We just get more involved in the war. Yeah, I saw more stuff about that too. Like, we hit some Syrian facilities, so we're, getting back into that. Literally a firearms instructor and military chud. Actually, the firearms instructor is false. That's not true. He wasn't a firearms instructor, but he is a military reservist. Like, the guy's a military reservist with an active military ID card, and was actually sent to a mental hospital for a little bit during the last summer, and was an active military ID amongst that entire time and everything. And apparently was a local at the bar that he shot up, because I was listening to the Leftist Mafia, and one of the people that donate to their streams was saying that, like, they work at that bar, and he was a regular there. Like, he would go in there frequently and play cornhole and, drink people and just hang out. At least supposedly, before all that, wasn't really like, a fucking, like, short-tempered dude or anything. So, there obviously was, like, something building up, and I think a lot of that was due to his schizophrenia. And, you know, because if he wasn't, it seems like he was just kind of, like, your military, conservative, yokel dude. Like, I mean, which makes sense. I mean, those guys are a dime a dozen, pretty much no matter where the fuck you go. You're gonna find them anywhere. But, I mean, like, this guy had extra shit going on in a sense that this dude was, like, schizophrenic. So he, like, had literal fucking voices in his head. Like, you know, basically, you know, slowly delving him into, like, crazy conspiratorial right-wing shit. Because supposedly it wasn't like this the entire time. Like, from what I understand, like, this whole, like, conspiratorial thing about him was more of a recent thing. So, like, and I think a lot of that is probably in tandem when his schizophrenia started acting up and started, you know, showing his symptoms. Because it seems like y'all, you know, from what people have, you know, from what people have, like, claimed about him, at least as witnesses and people that have used to know him, or have known him, you know, they said he wasn't, you know, crazy and shit. At least updates from 19 minutes ago. Well, from what I understand, like, I think it was the Army. I think because he was an Army reservist. But they came out with statements saying he was a part of, like, firearms training, but he was not an instructor, nor did he, like, specifically instruct or educate in those trainings. He was more of, like, a participant, not really like an instructor. So that's, I mean, it's a little bit of an inaccuracy. I mean, like, I would say that he probably was more of a participant as, like, a bystander more than anything from what the information, at least from what the military statement was about it. Because they did it for the Army, I think, as a private instructor. Well, I guess that would make sense. So, at least the Army's statement about it would at least be accurate in the sense he's not an official firearm instructor, but at least that's like a private one. You know, like at a, you know, fire range or something like that. I guess that would make sense. I'm just kind of going based off what I've learned about it, and at least a lot of the up-to-date information that I've seen from it is that, you know, he wasn't like an actual, like, Army instructor, but at least, you know, the possibility of a private instructor was there, but that, at least from what I understood, wasn't confirmed. But I guess there is confirmation of that at this point. Because at least once the military made their statement about him, like, it kind of put a little bit more of, like, you know, digging in to see if that actually is true, and at least that part was. But I guess there's at least now information that he was a private instructor. But either way, it's like, I mean, one thing I'm, like, can't really fathom is, like, if this guy was at a mental hospital, diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic, how in the fuck is one idiot in the military, and two, able to have a gun? Like, I mean, the military part is, like, number one to me, because that grants them the access to fucking guns. So how in the fuck was he be able to, like, how did that slip for the fucking cracks? Like, was it just undiagnosed up until very recently, or what? Like, I mean, that is what I kind of want to know. And also, is this guy going to plan another one? Because for all intents and purposes, he's like the first serial mass shooter that we've had so far. At least that I can remember. He did 2 shootings in a 4-mile distance of each other, literally on the opposite sides of town, fled off on a boat to fuck knows where, and it could be anywhere. I mean, it could be in Maine, it could be in, like, somewhere on the East Coast somewhere in another state. I mean, dude could be anywhere at this point. And that's what makes it a little bit more crazy, because now you have a paranoid schizophrenic with guns just out there, you know, probably plotting another crazy episode or some shit that is going to be another attack. And if that's the case, then is he going to go back, or is he going to just hit another town? Like, I mean, that's another crazy thing about it. This is somebody who's extremely unpredictable. Like, because if you can find the person when they're not having their episode, you know, or not having a schizophrenic attack, you might be able to fucking, you know, capture the guy. But, you know, if he's having his episode, he's going to go guns blazing. And honestly, there's a chance that he will do that anyway. Because I think he might realize what the fuck happened and be like, well, I can't go in for this, fuck this, you know, or, which I guess in that logic it could off himself, but, you know, it's very unpredictable. I mean, I guess there is a possibility they can walk up on his corpse with a bullet in him because he shot himself, but I highly doubt that. I mean, because of the modus operandi with shooters that have killed themselves after mass shootings, they're usually on site of the shooting when they do that. So that doesn't seem likely to me. So now it's more like, where the fuck is he? And what the fuck is he planning? And like, you know, what law enforcement is specifically going to do about that? And from my understanding about that is that that they're basically having like aerial helicopters and aircraft flying around in the area, you know, with like thermal heat seeking and shit to see if they could find him, you know, in the woods or something like that. Which, considering the knowledge we do have, I don't think that's gonna help. They should be looking for a boat. Like, honestly, they should be looking for a boat that's just kind of mysteriously just like, you know, in a random spot on the side of the river or some shit, or the side of the coast. Like, they should be looking for a boat, I think. I mean, because if his car's abandoned, you know, at a boat dock, that means he took a boat somewhere. And I don't know if that means he stole one, or, you know, he already had one there. But he's on a boat, so it's like, I don't know if they are considering that, but they should probably be looking for a fucking boat. It's probably a boat in, like, some river in Maine just, like, chilling, and he's probably, like, you know, outside of a town or some shit. You know, like, I mean, who knows? But that's probably what they should be looking for. And I don't know if that's, like, something that, you know, they're stating that they are looking for or not, but I don't think they are. I hope they are, though, because that would be, I think, you know, how they could get closer to finding the fucker. Find out where that boat is and then narrow it down from there. What's going on? We're just kind of talking about the main shooter a little bit right now. It's kind of like a prelude to the more kind of bigger true crime topic we're going to get into, which is JF Garepe. There's some updates to the whole shebang about that, and, you know, we've been kind of keeping, you know, close eyes and listening, you know, a little bit, or reacting to that as it kind of gets updates. So that's gonna kind of be our thing for tonight. Check that shit out. But I'm just kind of thinking about this, like, recent shooter too, because of just kind of the peculiar circumstances around it. It's like, you know, just because of, like, you know, just because of, like, how, like, wild, you know, honestly, the particular, you know, cases of that one. At least in comparison to other mass shootings. You found this really funny video? You look for it real quick? Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, try to find it. Oh, wait, I don't think you'll be able to send links. I don't think you're a mod. Ticket prices for kits are slowly decreasing. Went down from 60 to 52 each, plus fees. Really? They're decreasing? Okay. Nice. Oh, then I need to get some money set aside to start paying you back a little bit for some of the shows. And then at some point, you know, meet up. Kobe showing up as mod on my end. Oh, did I already mod him before? Oh, I might have already modded him then. I forgot if I did or not, but if I did, then alright, then I already did. I mean, the only reason why I don't know is because, like, when I'm looking at the chat, it doesn't tell me who's a mod, who isn't. It's just names, so I don't know who's a mod or not. I mean, I do, but I know there's probably like one or two of them I forgot. Not enough jump. Found in the wild. Come on, Red. Don't be a bitch. Found the wild. Oh my god, what the hell? Oh my good lord, I've seen these before. Disney Pixar Magic Island, only in theaters. It got Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh my god. Yeah, there needs to be a lot more Trump going on there. Where'd you find it? Oh, sweet. Assignments in this video. Couldn't find the original. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll give it a little play after the song. I kind of like that little lyric. You're crucified and you're out of luck. What band is this? Exodus. Here, I can show you the album and everything. Temple of the Damned is the name of the album. It's a good album. It's a quality album. Definitely recommend. I would definitely say some good old quality German thrash. Wish I ever heard that album. Yeah, it's a good one. Holy shit. Oh, it's on DP. That they did from earlier today. You know, honestly, this might be in the thing we're gonna be looking at too. Oh, and it doesn't want a full screen. God damn it! I should make sure it wants to do that. Here, hold on, give me a sec. Cause this thing is retarded. This thing be full of regardedness. There we go. Blast that Alamo. Work tomorrow. Nice. Alright, here we go. Alright. You said about 9 minutes in? Let's skip right there. Well, you know, maybe we haven't seen this clip.
Who made this video? Let's hear.
Hey, where's Billy? Hey, did Billy go? Hey, what happened to Billy? Is Billy not a part of the show anymore?
I don't know what his qualifications are, but he's some kind of investigator, according to him.
Citizen, scholar, saint. Currently, I am working on a book project laying out the bold queer theory of history. It will be a revolution in our understanding of American history.
Listen to what he says here, because this is, I'm like, what is? He's gonna write. He's working on an American history project, but listen to what he says about it here.
Incorporating all of the revelations of Q into our traditional understanding of the American past. I am
What? I don't wait. So who is this? I think Bill's recently has stepped away from DP a bit recently. Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't watched DP in a long while, so yeah, I didn't know that.
Knowledge of America's secret archives and my Christian gnosis to this project.
Oh no.
Yes. Okay.
Oh no.
Yes.
Which I hope to complete in time for the 2024 presidential election. Today, I am taking a break from that endeavor to work on a humbler project. I will apply my special skills to the realm of true crime in order to look at a true crime case involving another prominent internet personality and the disappearance of his girlfriend.
Wait, hang on. Another prominent internet personality.
Yeah.
Does he think he's I
don't know.
A prominent internet?
Unless he's covered other.
And O.J. Simpson play golf together.
I highly doubt it. Like, I don't know who I have no idea who this dude would be. So, oh my god, they got TTS. Jesus Christ.
Probably doesn't play any sports at all.
Yeah, no, I would really be surprised if he could find clubs that are short enough.
Kids clubs, dude. I bought because I was getting into golf.
Oh my god. Okay.
1 year, and then
amazing.
For the past few years, white nationalist John Francois Garipi has streamed on YouTube and other platforms alongside of his girlfriend Alora.
All right, so when this video's done, I want everyone in the chat to vote in my poll that I'm going to put up. And if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments if this video influenced your opinion on this at all.
Yeah, sure.
Probably not, because I already have a pretty, certain opinion about like what happened.
All right, here it goes.
As Mama JF. This past June, Mama JF went missing. Currently, the Canadian Mounties are investigating her disappearance. The scuttlebutt around the web is that JF killed his longtime girlfriend. However, that is an ignorant assessment, and in this video, I will demonstrate that to be the case.
What?
I will
Okay.
prove that.
Wait, what? This person's defending JF? What? Huh?
As a suspect.
This is a first.
And in fact, his story as stated is almost certainly the real story.
No, it's not.
First, I propose that we carefully consider Mr. Gary P's sexual orientation. On the surface, he is a heterosexual. Indeed, much of his negative reputation owes to his purported improprieties with women. However, if you look deeper, you will notice a pattern which indicates that his true feelings are far different. At no point has Gary P explained what he finds attractive about a woman or why he thinks that way.
What? That's bullshit. Dude, he's always talking about it like, I love the woman so I can do the insemination, false breeding. Like, dude, his attractiveness to women is the fact that he can breed with them and shit because he's a fucking weirdo freak. I mean, like, that's why. Like, I mean, what the fuck? I'm like, what is this? Holy shit.
How much he talks about sexuality and reproduction, this is a very strange omission. His cold, clinical...
Because he's a fucking freak. Like, he has a weird obsession about, like, insemination or whatever the fuck, and, like, that's... Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
Insemination comes across as detached and disinterested. The way that's...
Because he's a sociopath. Like, I mean, what the fuck do you think? This dude's an utter fucking sociopath.
Might talk about the physical features of a box or a shoe.
Have a box or a shoe?
I legitimately think that's a whole different issue there, bud.
So, the first point he's going to make here is that JF is gay.
Right.
And he couldn't have committed this crime of passion because he has no passion for women. So
He's only...
Which is beyond retarded. Like... I mean, the theory is that, like, I mean, she was going to show his kids on stream, and because they officially, technically don't exist under, the Canadian state or anything, that would be detrimental, to, like, JF's broader livelihood and accessibility to his children. And the likelihood is that he ended that stream when she was about to do that, and likely, probably had an argument and then killed her, and or at least somewhere along those lines. And then at that point, within shortly after taking a little break, decided to do a lot of renovations and do a body disposal and shit like that to at least establish an alibi to backtrack his actions, and has been trying to maintain that story since. Which the idea that, like, oh, she just decided to just run away and disappear. It's likely they don't really have kids. I don't buy that. Like, I really don't, because he's talked about before, at least, and has at least in some extent omitted that, she has birthed kids in his bathtub and shit. Like, unironically. And there's been times in the past where he has had other children before where they've been taken by the state in custody cases and shit. So this guy's got a past about shit like this. And because of that past history, that gives a lot of credence to the idea that he doesn't want anyone really to know that they exist, technically. That's also why, like, if you notice with some of the interviews and stuff, at least, when it comes to other people mentioning him, like, it's basically immediate shutdown. He gets mad, and it's like, freaks the fuck out, saying it's discrimination against him, and he, is trying to paint him as a victim or something, and then basically shuts the call off. Like, he's legit rage quitted and basically made it very damn clear that he doesn't want kids being mentioned whatsoever. Which, why would that be the case? If he didn't have kids, that shouldn't be a problem to talk about. And if he did have kids but wanted nobody to know about it, that certainly, seems likely that he's hiding, something there.
Yes.
Not really interested.
Make that argument. It seems unlikely they don't have kids. I don't know. I certainly believe that there's this likelihood that they do have kids. Well, he does.
For the bang, bang, bang.
His obsession with insemination
I mean, so far, everything about the case so far, I think, to me, points to the fact that he does at least have 2 kids. Because, he's mentioned that before at least a few times. Like, and essentially as ways, unintentional slip-ups. And honestly, I think, when it comes to a lot of, like, JF's archives and stuff, he's scrubbed a lot of, shit. So, at this point, it would probably be really fucking difficult to really kind of, like, find that type of shit, to be honest.
Non-existent interest in sex for the sake of sex indicates that he lacks a physical attraction to women.
I don't know if that's true. That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't want them mentioned whatsoever, because if she's missing and supposedly is a mother and has children, that makes things way more fucking suspicious. And, and he doesn't want that information known, because he wants to try to be innocent and just make it assumed that she decided to just up and leave him. Which, even that in itself doesn't make sense, unless, she decided to say, I'm leaving, but she would still have contact with people. She'd probably be back with her family or something like that, if that was the case. So, there's obviously, no matter what, there's something fishy going on, right? In a sense, the aspect of him having kids or not is, in a way, is a little relevant. But either way, there's something fishy with it, and it's very likely that, yeah, he killed her.
Observe that he is always awkward when he is on camera or on screen
we can say that JF is not picky. That's true. That's very true. Not picky at all.
Nope.
Women. He looks like he is actively acting and does not quite know how a heterosexual should behave.
What?
He acts like
how does a heterosexual behave? Like, what the fuck? What does that even mean?
Figure, whereas she is clearly smitten with him for reasons that I cannot fathom. She is waxed on about how great he is, but
you know what? Fair enough. I want to understand why a woman would be smitten with him either. I love that choice of phrase, smitten up with him.
He never reciprocated, preferring to bask in the praise.
Yeah, that is true. Like,
if she said it will be pretty obvious who did it. Yep, it's pretty obvious, and I think this is a rehearsal for the mugshot, you know what I mean? Like, I think we got, like, a proto-mugshot right there. I think we know who did it. Look, even, like, if we don't even know, like, who this person was, like, and I just showed you this guy just at face value, and I said, do you think this guy killed somebody? Like, and, like, would your gut instinct kind of say, yeah, probably? Because, honestly, my gut instinct would say yes.
Not like, oh, Mama JF, you are sexy, I love you too. He's always kind of like, yes, she is a big fan of mine. Like,
yeah. That seems to be like the soul.
Because he's a solipsist. He's a hyper egotistical maniac, basically. Like, and a sociopath. Like, a very strong sociopath. He's hyper, detached, and in that way. Like, he's very utilitarian, materialistic when it comes to his thinking process, in the sense that, like, he's almost like kind of Aleister Crowleyan, like, where he only, looks at what benefits him specifically and fuck everything else. Everyone else is merely a tool or a byproduct to help me, benefit myself. And that includes, what was her name? Like, Elora? Like, so it's like it included her too, no matter if she actually genuinely had thoughts for him or not. He looks like he'd killed a woman specifically. I wouldn't believe he said he killed a man. He looks like a bitch. Well, I could say that he probably could kill a man because he would have, because he can have a gun, because he'd be a bitch. Like, he'd get in a bar fight, outside, get punched down, get punched around a little bit and take his gun and just blast him and mag dump him and then just, like, run away like a bitch. Like, that's, like, and yeah, I can also see him killing a woman. But honestly, I feel like it'd be more likely he would kill a woman, like strangling her or some shit. Which, that's probably what he did. To be frank, he probably either strangled her or, if he had to do a bunch of remodeling, especially with a bunch of drywall and shit like that, 3 days of remodeling his entire, home, then maybe he shot her. Like, I don't know if he has a gun or not, but, there is a possibility that he maybe does own one.
motivator for like.
Which, if that's the case, then he would probably be on a database in a sense, because I mean, Canadian gun laws are far more stricter than American gun laws, just across the board. You know, it's like they're even more strict in California. So it's like, I mean, if he does, then like if her body is found, then they're going to be able to figure that out really fucking quick.
His like sexual component to it, aside from procreation, is just that she's into him.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Yes.
But whereas she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I think so. You know,
Well,
like
yeah.
it is kind of weird.
Yeah, she's all right.
Gary P has also claimed on multiple occasions to have other roommates who are programmers. We have never seen or heard them. If they exist, they are almost certainly male, given the complete and utter domination of that field by men.
He replastered his walls right after and admitted it. Yeah. Which implies, you know, some element of suspicion, especially after, you know, she moved out.
All of this leads to the inescapable conclusion
Supposedly.
that Gary P is a homosexual. He keeps Mama JF and other women around to make white babies. Mama JF is also a useful beard. Gary...
A useful beard? Did he say beard? Wait, what?
Beard.
A beard, dude.
Many are saying this. Yeah.
The right wing
Wow.
is typically anti-gay and would not accept his true self.
True.
The upshot of all of this...
You know, honestly, weirdly enough, I don't really inherently totally disagree. I do think there's like some hypersexual insecurity with JF. I don't think he's gay, but I really do think there's a lot of strong sexual insecurities with him. Like, I mean, honestly, the way he, you know, treats women and, you know, perceives women, like how he talks about them with like, they are, you know, merely there for insemination, for my peanut, or whatever the fuck, you know, it's so creepy. Like, I mean, all that shit of it, you know, like, it definitely reeks of just strong sexual insecurity. Like, I mean, I don't think it's like, you know, he's gay necessarily, but I definitely do think there probably is at least a certain level of like homoerotic elements about him. Because actually the thing we're going to look at later, there's actually, funny enough, somebody that like, you know, asked him a question on his stream being like, would you pregnate the, you know, or would you inseminate the gay boy or whatever? And he's like, why would I do that? I can't, you know, breed and make babies with that. Like, which kind of, in a way, like, I mean, does kind of say that you would fuck a man if they could procreate. So that implies that you do have at least some level of sexual attraction to men, but you are telling yourself something otherwise that's not good, and because, oh, I can't procreate, or whatever the fuck. Like, that's the reason why. So it's just like, I mean, he certainly definitely has a lot of sexual insecurity with that type of shit, and it fucking shows of how sociopathic he is, because of how antisocial of a personality he is. Because that has always been there, really, from the fucking beginning with his antisocial behaviors. Like, even before, like, he really totally came out as a white supremacist, because, I mean, before then, he was just kind of more of a weird, quirky little dork, but, you know, once his true side came out, like, that's, you know, like, I think when he felt more comfortable about it, because he kind of fell in with his little clique when he came with Andy Warski and that fucking crowd. Even sociopaths have sexual attraction and express it. Yeah, like, I'm saying that, you know, he certainly does, and I think, you know, in a way, there definitely is at least some sort of, like, homosexual tendencies about him. I don't think he is gay, but I definitely think there's a hypersexuality about him, where he'll probably fuck anything that moves if he had a chance. Like, and he felt comfortable enough, you know, to express that if he didn't deny it, you know, to himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those people where I think if, you know, deep down inside, if he could have it his way, he would fuck anything that moves. Like, I think he's probably one of those dudes, you know, because it's self-gratifying and it gives him pleasure, and he doesn't really care what hole he fucks, like, as long as it pleasures him. I think that's kind of, like, what his sexuality is, because of his sociopathy. Like, I don't really think the, like, you know, being hetero, gay, or whatever really matters that much to him, outside of the, I must make the babies to procreate. Like, that's pretty much about as far as it goes, and thus, you know, his sexuality is going to at least express itself more like that. But deep down inside, if there's a hole, there's a goal, basically. But the goal is making babies, so that limits what holes to fuck. And that's an insecurity on his part. I mean, all of it's just, like, hypersexual insecurity. but still like an F slur kind of gay. Well, yeah. He certainly is like a faggot kind of gay. I mean, he really is. He's definitely a 90s, faggot gay, yeah. He really is, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of who he is, yeah. I mean, that's kind of, I'm saying that in the most nicest way possible.
The larger question of his guilt is that he is being accused of committing a crime of passion. There can be no crime of passion without passion. Jean-Francois Philippe has at no point in his life demonstrated...
There can definitely be a crime of passion without passion in it, necessarily.
Sexual passion for women, only a reproductive drive which seems mechanical and forced.
This is convincing me.
I mean, honestly, he does say that. Like, JF has even said, like, yeah, like, what isn't mechanical about that world, including sex. Like, he said that before. So, yeah, like, okay, you know what? Alright, I was kind of initially like, what the fuck is this? But... you know what? Like, this guy's got some points. What the fuck? What the fuck? I'm kind of being persuaded almost.
Gay man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He would not murder a woman in a fit of passion, since women mean nothing to him and do not cause him to react emotionally.
But if they mean nothing to him, then that still makes an opportunity for him to kill her. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if he's trying to say he never did it, like he's innocent, but at least when it comes to his orientation and all this other shit, I tend to agree a little bit, but honestly, at the end of the day, like, I mean, he still whacked her, bro. He still killed her, man. It's like a 5'4" overweight, greasy penguin looking dude. He really is, bro. He totally is.
Huh.
The second major factor.
I'm kind of getting on board with this, man.
This next one is great. The next one is going to lay out the case that JF couldn't even kill Mama JF if he wanted to because he's such a small weakling, and Mama JF would just, like, beat the shit out of him easily.
Oh, my God. What?
Yes.
Which
I will agree with that one.
It's JF.
Well, the thing is, like, that's why I think that JF probably used a weapon, which maybe made it a lot more bloodier, to be frank. Which means he had to be multiple days, to essentially clean up his area, clean up his home. So, I mean, like, look, like, she's not exactly like, somebody who I could see, like, overtly, like, whooping ass. But she looks like somebody who would fight back and be able to fuck you up, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, she ain't, like, she don't look like a straight-up weakling, you know what I mean? Like, she seems like, she could seriously definitely, like, kind of fight back and probably, like, run away and shit. Especially to someone like JF. I mean, but, like, that's why I feel like maybe a weapon was involved in some extent. I think dude's being sarcastic is using this excuse to call him gay and a pussy. Yeah, probably.
Being responsible for murdering or otherwise doing violence to Mama JF is the contrast in physical abilities between the two. Simply put, it beggars belief to claim that JF would have any meaningful chance in a fight against the physically superior Mama JF.
I'm agreeing with this, 100%.
Damn! Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Ouch. Oof. Damn, I could feel the heat from that burn from over here. Ooh, I need to take a jacket off for that one. Damn. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. Damn, that was a gut punch that even I felt the shockwave from. Damn, bro.
No, absolutely.
Savage. Damn.
Mama JF is a tall, fit, lanky woman.
Yeah.
She is known to stand at 5 feet. 10 inches tall, which is about the average height for a man. She weighs around 150 pounds, so she is slim, but we know from her infamous nude bike video that she is in good shape.
Nude bike video? What the fuck? What? Is that a thing? I don't want to look it up. I feel like that would be kind of, like, distasteful, but, I mean, it's just like, what? Okay.
Yeah, she's fit.
Her infamous nude bike video.
I mean,
which I've never heard of before, but I guess it's a thing.
It is kind of infamous, and I didn't mind it at all.
AF can handle the cold, and she.
I mean, honestly, I don't care either because, like, in Oregon, well, here in Portland, we have the naked bike ride and shit. Like, there's actually a few smaller ones that also exist that kind of happen throughout the Petapalooza. But, like, the big one is a part of Petapalooza, I think, in, like, August or some shit. And honestly, like, I mean, I'm used to it. Like, I never partook in it, but, you know, there's been times where I've passed by and I'm like, oh, well, there it is. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's whatever, but, you know, it's like, who cares? Honestly, more kudos to you if you decide to do that, because, I mean, imagine having straight up bare junk on those bike seats. Hurts like a bitch, because just with clothes on and trying to ride a bike with those absurd bike seats, fuck no, dude, that already is bad enough. Just freewheeling it out, like, oh, hell no.
Of endurance. I also know from watching her in videos that she moves swiftly and smoothly, and that she has an abundance of energy.
Like a Kit Kat.
In contrast, Gary P is a substandard male, if we are being as polite as possible.
I'm so fucking convinced.
Oh my god, dude.
This dude's cracked the fucking code, my guy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Looking at various images of him with other people, it is very clear that he is short. Notice that he was eager to be a co-host to an Asian woman back when he had an Epstein-funded science show.
Dude, he actually was funded by Epstein back in 2014. That is true.
Many such cases.
Back when he had an Epstein-funded science show.
This is because Asian women are one of the few demographics of people who are smaller than JF.
Thank you.
Oh my god, dude. Come to the PNW. Dude, Asian women around here are not short. I mean, well, okay, like, look, there are some short Asian women out there, but that live around here. Bruh, most of them aren't. Like, they're about, like, I've seen some Asian women who are taller than me. And I'm just like, god damn. So I'm just like, I mean, so you gotta come to PMW for that shit, because that's not totally accurate. I mean, dude, there would be, like, Asian women that would tower over this motherfucker.
He has also stated that he...
This is amazing, dude.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
incredible.
Dude, this is awesome, dude. Colby, thank you for showing. Dude, this is awesome. I never knew this was a thing.
would allow Asian women into his white ethno-state. This is...
It's just... Oh my god, yeah, he would... Well,
again,
yeah.
to throw off the average height stats and make him feel better about himself. There has never been a time when Gary P provided images or video of himself standing next to Mama JF because he did not want it dwarfed by his consort. Mr. Gary P is...
That's true. I know, seeing that she has to really lean in to, like, look like he is over his shoulder.
Say consort, but whatever.
We've only seen a few videos of JF, like, standing next to somebody. There was that... He interviewed that woman, and he was noticeably smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's been a few here and there. The most infamous one is the Brittany Pettibone one. I'm gonna try and find that picture so I can send it to you too.
Okay.
5 foot, 4 inches tall or thereabouts, if my estimate is correct. Gary
estimate.
is also not a fit or athletic man. In addition to being vertically challenged, he is a Chicago-style pizza.
He's doughier than a Chicago-style pizza.
Oh my god, true though. Dude, I'm getting more convinced by this video by the second. This is awesome. Dude, because he is like a doughy ass little fuck, bro. He's just a doughball piece of shit. Like, and honestly, if this guy were to try to, like, run away and be, like, you know, try to flee the fucking, like, feds or some shit, and, you know, like, run to the woods or something, like, dude, this guy wouldn't last a month. He wouldn't last a fucking, like, you know, like, barely, like, 2 weeks, if that, honestly. I give him 2 weeks before he starts starving to death and, like, finds himself into Mickey D's or some shit. Like, I mean, because at that point, the only other bet is, like, try to flee to Russia or some shit, because he's openly has talked about that before. Like, one of his backup plans, so to speak, is to go to Russia because they, you know, apparently don't extradite, you know, people if they're caught with crimes or whatever the fuck, which seems a little suspicious.
Incredible.
This has always been true, but it is becoming worse now that he is nearing 40. with his hairline in retreat and waistline dancing in all directions.
Wow.
Damn.
Really a better defense.
Dude, this is just like brutality, dude. This guy's just doing a napalm strike. This isn't just like roasting somebody. This is doing a napalm strike.
Hairline. I
What?
have a
That's not. Oh my god. Whatever.
And it's wonderful.
retreating
It's
hairline.
yeah.
beautiful.
I have a retreating
He
hairline.
is increasingly looking like Danny DeVito.
Hey, don't fuck on Danny DeVito, dude. What the fuck? Poor Danny.
That is a fact.
Oh, I love that guy.
He is not active. Gary P rarely, if ever, leaves his home. When we see him move on camera, he is stiff and slow, looking like a 60-year-old man with arthritis.
What the hell?
Wow.
If he were to try
This
to
video-
murder...
Man, imagine following his falls, JF. He went from a respected neuroscientist researcher to this. Yeah, and I mean, and honestly, a part of me wonders, like, how much of it is just, like, you know, but, dude, Sukov, shut up. Like, I wonder how much of that, like, this weird arc of his is because he, like, just happened to, like, maybe talk to a few weirdos back in, like, you know, his neuroscience days or some shit. Or, like, maybe interacting online with, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, there obviously had to have been something, and a part of me thinks he always probably believed this. That's maybe why he had such a fascination with neuroscience, because he wanted to, like, learn more about that to justify his weird bullshit. I mean, so, but I don't know. Like, but that would be my guess, to be frank. At least just a little hunch.
I'm gonna be honest, this video fucking slaps, man.
Yeah.
This video does slap.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
When we see him move on camera, he is stiff and slow, looking like a 60-year-old man with arthritis. If he were to try to murder Mama JF, he would not be strong enough to take her out with much ease. In a physical fight, say a cage fight, Mama JF would be the odds-on favorite for defeating Gary P as she is stronger,
Dude, a cage fight, bro.
more reach, and vastly more stamina.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that one to her. I mean, like...
He got fired for sexual harassment of students and had to find another way to make money, I think. Yeah. Yeah, no, he has, like, at least 7 different, like, cases in the past, at least, you know, of sexual harassment. And I think, you know, some of it were with students and, like, and all that shit. Like, which, again, I think a lot of that shows, you know, about his sexual insecurity. And honestly, this video, I think, kind of nailed that a little bit, weirdly enough. Like, because honestly, I mean, maybe not, like, entirely, but at least I think it got pretty close. Because, like, I mean, his past history like, you know, at least with what we do know of him, really just shows that. Like, he's a hyper-sexually insecure person, and it's also just very hypersexual to where he wants to just fuck any hole he can, basically. I mean, he's just a freaky little creepish, sociopathic, antisocial perv.
Him, yeah. I like.
And in a way, I think that probably, at least in some part, plays a role in how he delved into the shit that he did, I think, at least to some...
fucking think.
Kind
A
of.
lot more than I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this sometimes will make you think here on DP, you know?
Shit, yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen DP, but holy fuck, yeah. Holy shit, they're making me pondering some shit. And it's actually a good little prelude to what we're about to delve into anyway. Which, funny enough, you know, is also kind of tangential to the whole DP thing, because it's Dustin Smith. He's been doing like pretty deep dives into this whole JF thing, and I think honestly a lot of what's been mentioned so far, and we'll kind of like, you know, like get a, you know, kind of rehashing of what, you know, we know and stuff like that and shit before we get, you know, totally into that one. But again, it's a good little prelude to it.
Suggested that he may have shot her, but shooting people in the leg to get a kill is not terribly effective and might cause a physically superior
shooting someone in the leg? Dude, he would shoot her in the head.
To attack.
What? What?
Wow.
Wow, bro.
From a sheer physicality standpoint, JF Gary P is a ridiculous candidate as a murderer unless the victim is a cheap bottle of Moscato from Walmart.
A cheap bottle of Moscato.
Moscato, dude.
Oh, shit.
Next, let us consider J.F. Gary P's politics and why his beliefs actually make him highly unlikely to be a murderer of any kind, much less a domestic killer. Gary P is a white nationalist, and this has drawn some negative attention from true crime investigators.
Huh? I mean, if you're a white nationalist, frankly, honestly, that makes it more likely you're probably gonna kill somebody. I'm just like, honestly. Like, I mean, at least in America especially, that's just kind of likely. Sorry, but what? Excuse me? Huh? I mean, out of the last 10 mass shootings, 8 or 9 of them have basically been for right-wing extremists and shit, and white nationalists. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He wants to build a white ethno-state somewhere in North America.
Yeah, it's Quebec. It's called Quebec. Like, he wants, a white nationalist, Quebec-y ethno-state. Like, he's always talked about that. Like, that's been one of his little weird pet projects with, Quebec-y separatists and shit.
An ethno-state is that it will be peaceful due to the harmony between people who have no differences to fight over. Gary P's ideal society is not one which would contain violence. His views are also libertarian in general.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Oh my god, bullshit. So, you can't advocate for a white ethno-state and be a libertarian, okay? That's an oxymoron. That doesn't work.
Or for free will. Gary P has been very consistent about how he believes that people should be free to behave however they choose. While he has doubts about the wisdom of allowing complete freedom to women,
what's up, bros?
He ultimately values freedom more than his feelings because he is a logical person. And any seemingly misogynistic attitudes that he has come from his homosexuality.
Oh my god. Strictly from the homosexuality, not the white nationalist, misogynistically, chauvinistic, as fucking tradcon, the woman must be, inseminated, as a breeder, and this and that and whatever. Who's this jerk off? I honestly don't know, but this shit slaps. You should have seen some of the early bit of it. Colby found it, because he was trying to find the original video, but he couldn't find it, but dude, this is kind of a fucking gem, because it's basically trying to say, in a weird way, this is like a dissing on JF, but defending him at the same time, if that makes sense. Because he's saying that he couldn't have killed Mama JF because he's basically gay, and he's a bitch and a pussy and a fat schlub. and he's 40 and barely can, handle, a bottle of, Manosa from fucking Walmart or something. The dude is weirdly trying to say he's innocent, but is basically shitting on him and doing a napalm strike on him at the same time. This guy is not only roasting him, he's doing a napalm strike. It's holy shit, where are we? Back in Nam? It's holy fuck. I mean, he ain't pulling no punches with this guy. But it's so weird, because he's also saying he's innocent and didn't kill her, and is not, guilty of anything. Which, I guess right now, I suppose it's all opinion, and all alleged. So, I mean, I guess, whatever, he's got his take, but I just think it's fucking stupid and wrong. At least kind of. There's a few things here and there where I'm just like, you know what, there's actually kind of a point here.
Look, we're not saying it. There's the video saying it. And,
Case closed.
Case closed, bro.
The longer this goes on, the more I'm convinced.
Oh, he goes into it, too, you'll see.
For Jean-Francois Gary P, only men and their ambitions matter because only men are sexually appealing. He knows that as a substandard male.
I just finished the last episode with Ocean Love, the muscule chick part. Jeff.
Fucking Lord. Smash me.
She doesn't have to do it directly. She wasn't mentally well. What we have to do is leave her somewhere, and chance of survival will be low, which is high in the Canadian wilderness. Well, the thing is, I guarantee you he probably did straight up, kill her, but dispose of the body somewhere, in the Canadian wilderness, probably. Honestly, I think that is probably the likelihood. I mean, at least all things considered. I mean, it's all just speculation, but I mean, considering that there's no body found yet, and she has not said anything, considering that she's missing, and if she supposedly was alive still and missing, she probably would have said something by now. Like, but that's not the case, so... Like, you know, they just haven't found her body, but the main, you know, person that would know would be JF. Or potentially whatever information, you know, might be on his, you know, old equipment. Because he ditched some laptops as well. Probably the most exercise his pudgy ass has gotten last decade. No shit, dude.
Crush me with your thighs like a watermelon.
All I can hope is that, you know, like, the justice, you know, for her is actually done. Which, weirdly enough, like, I mean, like, justice for Mama JF, though, unironically, because, like, I mean, I really hope he becomes, like, some, like, Canadian's prison bitch, dude. Or just shivved. One or the other. I mean, being, like, a fucking Nazi, I mean, chances are, like, unless he finds, like, some gang to hang out with, like, chances are he probably would get shivved.
Fuck, Jesus Christ. Also, if you're really interested in some material very similar to that, there's a model called Autumn Ivy, and she does an
They use maple syrup as lube. I'm sure that would probably be painful.
His own physical safety is enhanced by not calling for a society where physical force against women is allowed, since that would make fights between men more common. Another factor is that Gary P. is wealthy due to his crypto reserves, and he also has an advanced degree. Both of those things make him statistically unlikely to commit a crime.
That's not true. Honestly, like, I mean, there have been definitely plenty of people who have killed, and, you know, like, I've seen true crime videos and stuff. Like, there are some people that do legit have, like, pretty acclimated backgrounds. Maybe not necessarily PhD, but there are people that have been PhDs and murdered and shit. Like, so that's just not true.
A violent crime.
Maybe statistically that probably is the case, but, I mean...
Why?
They're claiming that statistically someone with an advanced degree and with a lot of money is statistically less likely to commit a violent crime. I don't know if that's true.
I think they're statistically more likely to get away with it. You know, there's a whole trope of...
That's honestly what I think. Like, maybe statistically that's what official might be, but do you think it's just because they can get away with it more easily? Because they got a lot of fucking money and... you know, might seem like, oh, well, they probably couldn't do something like that. Like, just because of, like, you know, assumptions based off of that.
Like, you know, rich dudes having to, like, call their buddy to help them bury a dead hooker, you know? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Whatever.
I would like to talk about his French-Canadian heritage.
What?
He is culturally Catholic, which means that he was trained to be passive-aggressive rather than actively violent. Canadians as
What? Excuse me?
to violence. The French are famously awful fighters, and Gary P.
Oh my god, that is not true. Oh my god. Like, no, that is not even fucking true. Like, just because, like, Blitzkrieg happened, you know, in World War II and shit, doesn't mean they're weak fucking fighters. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, like, historically, the French are known to be fierce fucking fighters and, like, a force to be reckoned with, historically. Like, I mean, like, what? It's, like, does Napoleon ring the bell there, buddy?
Not inherit the high-strung temperament of the French, which means that he most likely has rarely, if ever, demonstrated his subpar fighting skills. Side note, French Canadians should not be white supremacists. There may be...
I point you to Quebec separatists, where a lot of them are really conservative and pretty, like, white nationalistic-y in nature. Like... I mean, because I've been curious about this whole Quebec separatist thing before, so I've checked out, like, different things in the past, and it's like, yeah, they all kind of are different hodgepodge, like elements of ideology of, like, you know, either right-wing or far-right, you know, elements, you know, and even to the extreme of, like, white nationalism. So it's like, yeah, that's not exactly true either.
White people with extraordinary characteristics, but the French Canadians are not one of those groups.
Okay, that's true. I can agree with that.
True.
They sound stupid when they talk, since they speak with awful accents in both French and English.
Oh my god! Okay, I can't disagree with this. You know what? Hey, Hey, when they're right, you know? Oh my god, what the fuck? I love it. Holy shit. I go into, like, roasting this video into just like, oh, you know what? Can't disagree. Oh, shit.
I'm with you on this one. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Mama JF is very typical of what French Canadians sound like and their usual level of cultural attainment. I don't want to disparage the lady in this video, but we need to keep it real about the people group she hails from. Also, if Gary P really understood genetics, he would inseminate no one so as to pass on his short, French-Canadian genes, and if he felt the need to offer his seed, he would not allow a French-Canadian woman to be his vessel.
What the fuck? Ah, his vessel, dude? Oh my god, holy shit. This sounds stupid when it, I mean, well, hey, that's true.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Canadians are only good at fighting in wars. However, they are infamous for committing war crimes.
True.
Wow.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah,
But there's the French Canadian part of that, you know, like it's a bad mix. It's a bad mix.
In conclusion,
It's a mix that should have never happened. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look, I know. Oh damn.
Damn. Oof.
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
here is the summation of my investigation into the Mama JF disappearance. The popular notion...
It's like he misses, but he builds momentum, so the swing connects hard. Yeah, it's like, he's like, whoom, bam, bam, and then he gets right into it, dude. Yeah.
JF Gary P. killed his consort needs to be shelved until such time as there is some actual reason to suspect him. First, as a clear homosexual, he could not master the passion needed for a passion of crime since women do not really matter to him. Second,
True.
in any kind of physical altercation, it is highly unlikely that Gary P. would prevail over Mama JF given that she is physically superior to him in speed, strength, and stamina, the three most important physical attributes for winning a fight. Third, JF's
Sure.
political commitments, educational background, and racial heritage all make him less likely to be a murderer.
The racial heritage? What the fuck does that mean? I don't even want that fucker to elaborate what that means. Was that just a dog whistle for 1350, which is also a dog whistle in itself? Was that like a hyper dog whistle? Was that like a meta dog whistle? Like, what the excuse, what? Excuse-moi, le Francois?
If there are any other suspects, the Canadian Mounties would be wise to focus their resources on them.
There isn't! Like, who the fuck else could, like, I mean, when it comes to this woman, like, who the fuck else could it be? I mean, honestly, like, I'm willing to entertain that. Like, who the fuck else could that possibly be? Because there ain't. There isn't, like, any likelihood that, you know, anyone else, you know, did anything to her. This would be, that guy right there would be the only fucking person.
Just a reminder, donations at every 10 level.
Fuck your
That was
donations.
amazing.
That was crazy.
Holy fuck.
Since
damn,
there's
that was
almost
good.
no chance that JF Gary P. could or would murder Mama JF. You have been listening to H.J. Armstrong. Like, comment, and subscribe.
H.J. Armstrong. Check him out.
Let me know.
Incredible job.
Well, I mean, probably not, but okay, oof. I guess that's who it, you know, that person is, which I kind of feel like there's going to be some yikesiness from that guy. But, oof. But honestly, a pretty good prelude to what we're about to get into anyway. Because it's pretty much the same shit. But, you know, a little more, you know, with what's going on, because this motherfucker, JF, has got himself interrogated. And is also, you know, going to do a lie detector test, which that doesn't really mean much. It's not really admissible in court or anything. But it is kind of telling, I think, a little bit, all things considered. So I kind of figured, you know, we would enjoy ourselves with this one, especially considering, you know, our little preview. They consider Terminator 2 horror. Terminator 2? Yeah, no. I would consider the first Terminator to be more of a horror. Terminator 2 is more of an action movie. Terminator 1 is more of a horror slash action. Classic sci-fi action. Yeah, I kind of agree with Mordax on that one. Definitely more of a sci-fi action style film. The first Terminator is more of like a sci-fi horror, you know, like action slash thriller, you know, type of film. But anyway, but I mean, all in all, I mean, you know, like we've been, you know, at least especially with our old boy Dusty Smith, we've been kind of keeping tabs of this whole JF thing because, I mean, it kind of has a little bit of an interest to me, especially all things considered with, like, you know, with, you know, obviously with DP there, funny enough, but also when it comes to the whole situation with, like, you know, with, you know, like JF and stuff, because I legit knew of JF prior to all this crazy shit because of DP a little bit. And then, you know, I used to kind of, like, you know, watch debates, you know, where he would be, like, you know, someone that somebody else would debate and shit, you know, and stuff like that, you know, so there's always been times in the past where, you know, I'm fairly well aware of who this guy was. And, you know, of course, back around June and May, you know, Mama JF went missing. Did a lot of renovating at his house. Fucking has this crazy fucking alibi about how she was dropped off at Prince Edward at, you know, at the bridge that connects there at the gas station, which we actually looked on the map before, you know, about where that is, and, you know, to kind of paint an idea about, like, you know, his alibi, which, considering his timeline, doesn't make fucking sense anyway. So there's a lot of, like, you know, there's a lot of shit, you know, going on with all this just right off the bat. And also, you know, like, there's been interviews that we've kind of already been talking back and forth about a little bit prior where, you know, like, you know, any sort of mention about, like, kids and stuff is just, like, utterly verboten. Like, you know, any mention about, like, you know, with my JF, you know, he has a very specific, you know, like, framework that he builds with, and essentially just, you know, thinks that she's, like, some 007, you know, agent, you know, is able to, like, hide under the cracks and this and that, or whatever the fuck. You know, just mysteriously, despite the fact that she obviously is, you know, frankly, mentally disabled to some extent. I don't know what that is or what her diagnosis would be, but she obviously does to some extent. I mean, you know, and obviously JF, you know, took exploitation to that, and it's very strongly likely that, you know, considering that he is, I mean, I think honestly does have 2 kids with her, you know, is something that, you know, probably played a major role in this. And, like, he probably does have at least an accomplice, you know, considering that he's apparently a night owl, and apparently is at least supposedly also, you know, like, somebody that, you know, sleeps in a lot and shit, which means that at least there has to be somebody that must be watching over the kids to some extent. And it's at least theorized, I don't know if it's totally true, that, you know, maybe he lives near his brothers, or at least one of his brothers, or lives, like, with his mom, or near his mom, or something like that, to where they can at least, you know, have easy access to take care of him when he happens to not be available because he's sleeping in and being a piece of shit. So, they're basically a deadbeat father if you really kind of, like, you know, take everything else about this aside. So, I mean, all in all, it's very likely that, you know, this, you know, it pretty much, I mean, all things, you know, considered, especially with, you know, the Canadian law enforcement being outside of his house for the past couple of weeks and shit like that, has called in for an interrogation, and, you know, requested for him for a lie detector test and all this other shit. I mean, there's a lot of things where it, you know, that law enforcement has certainly made him the primary suspect, and they, at least to some extent, are aware that there is evidence pointing to her disappearance on him specifically. And it's basically at this point whether we're finding out if she's alive or not, which honestly, if we're going to have to, you know, take a strong assumption, she's probably dead. Especially if this little beginning, to this whole fun thing. Does a Vigil Christian live in Canada's? I think so. I think he lives in Canada. Jeff Manita. JF the Inseminator Terminator. Oh god, ugh. What if you help JF? Nah, I don't think the Vigilant Christian would be an accomplice in that. He's got his own struggle. He's got his own fucking problem, dude. Like, I mean, he's got his own demons to work out, but they have nothing to do with JF. That would be kind of funny. That would be, like, the most weirdest curveball of them all if, like, the Vigilant Christian, happened to help him or something. I don't even think, the Vigilant... I don't even think VC's aware of JF. Maybe he is, I don't know. Imagine seeing both their mugshots. Honestly, I bet the Vigilant Christian probably does have mugshots out there. I mean, I'm willing to bet he probably does. Like, for some petty bullshit. I'm not saying something serious. I'm thinking, like, drug possession or something. Like, so I bet there probably is a mugshot of him out there. But, I mean, I don't know about, like, serious crimes. I'm just thinking, like, like drug possession or something. Because, honestly, I know Vigilant Christian has openly talked about his addiction with cocaine and stuff like that before, which I'm sure he still struggles with, to be honest. And if there's any crime that he probably has committed, it's probably possession. So, that'd be my guess. I'm sure there actually, unironically, are probably Vigilant Christian mugshots out there. But anyway.
If I were to end up in jail,
he's really quiet.
I'm gonna be in jail for a long time. Do you know that in Canada, the amount of time that they give you is already low, and on top of it, you make only a third of it. You can make a sixth of it if you're in good behavior. Like, worst case scenario, if my craziness and my presence in the media and my kind of willingness to do comedy around this, if this costs 2 years of my life doing prime number research in Canadian jail, I'll do it. I'll do it.
There you hear it.
Isn't that a little freaky and damning in a way? He's like, even if they forcibly convict me and, put me in prison, I'll do it. Because I would barely have to serve anything, because it goes further into it. But, like, he basically says that it's because, like, the justice system in Canada is, like, so bent on rehabilitation. I guess, like, that's a bad thing. Like, apparently that he could in some way take advantage of that and be able to get out early on good behavior or some shit. Which, considering a murder case, or at least a missing person case, at least as it stands for right now, like, I don't know if that, same logic would stand necessarily. But, I mean, I guess we'll have to, see about that. But the thing is, like, I mean, if he's, like, starting to kind of say that a little bit, I think, this is kind of a sign he's starting to crack. Like, I think a little bit, because I think he knows he's probably going to get arrested. I think he knows he's probably going to get fucked. He's just trying to, basically, plead the innocence now as much as possible, and basically have as much, like, of an alibi and, like, perception of that, for people out in the public, so, in a way, he can use that as evidence in the court. Like, being like, oh, little see, I'm innocent because, this and this, and I know how the system works anyway, so even if you think that I'm bullshitting and this and that, which it would be, like, then, I can try to take advantage of it. But if that's the case, then, and, you try to use that shit in court, then they're gonna take acknowledgement of that and make sure that you don't exploit that shit, bitch. Like, I mean, I imagine the Canadian justice system ain't that rehabilitative. I'm sure if they really want to, they can, throw the iron gauntlet like America's justice system can. So, it's like, I don't know about that one, bud.
Hey, Gary Eppy, talking about how,
Hi, Dusty.
even if he does get convicted of his wife's murder,
It's no big deal. It's Canada, baby. You can just pretty much kill your wife willy-nilly, and they only give you 2 years. So this just give you some background into the mindset of JF Garape. He has thought about this a lot, and apparently there's no big penalty for killing your wife in his brain. So let's just say he did it as a thought experiment. He basically doesn't have much to worry about. It's way better to do 2 years in prison and Club Fed, where you're basically the teacher to all the badass prisoners in there. Gonna be the hero of these people. Then let her take your kids.
That's another thing that he will mention later in this. Like, he'll pull up a clip of. Like, this dude is, like, joked about. It's like, oh, I could just basically be an educator for some of the inmates and teach them about the biology. Which is like, yeah. Go walk up in, like, you know, the gym recreation area and be like, hey, inmates, would you like to hear about the lecture of the biology? They're all gonna be like, bitch, bend your ass over and become our prison bitch. Like, they're not gonna give a fuck, bro. They're probably just gonna whoop your ass and then make you a prison bitch, like, right then and there. They're gonna bend you over on one of those, like, fucking benches and breed your ass like the cock sleeve that you will be. Teach it to black prisoners. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can imagine that going really well. That's what I mean, like, if there's, like, a decent, like, you know, unfortunately, hopefully not, but if there's, like, you know, a decent population of, like, black folk in the prison that he goes to, oh my god, I guarantee he's probably gonna get shipped. Like, I guarantee you he probably will.
Well, obsessive he is about
and if that's the case, well,
won't even let them on screen or have them mentioned in any way, or he rage quit. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight on this True Crime Deep Dive, Episode 3 into the JF Garape.
You know what? I should probably, like, rename the streams that we've delved into these before, because I've delved into Part 1 and Part 2, so I should at least make sure that I have those, like, you know, named up and stuff like that as well. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm certainly really interested in this case, because this is a very peculiar case indeed, I think. I mean, especially since, weirdly enough, it kind of hits kind of close to home for me a little bit, considering that, like, I mean, DP, Dusty, and then Jay, like, I mean, like, there's, like, this weird, like, Trinity aura of, like, I mean, holy fuck, like, all these people that I, like, kind of, like, grew up with when it came to, like, you know, listening to, like, in the more, like, casual commentary podcast sphere of things, and, like, the atheist stuff and all that shit. It's just like, damn, bro. It's like, holy shit, the weird way that it all comes in full circle in a way, you know? Like, I didn't think it would come into this weird circle. It's certainly like a holy shit moment. I knew JF was always a fucking freak and a creep, but to be honest, I will admit, I never thought that this would be in our timeline. I think it's why I'm so intrigued. It's because, like, I never thought there would actually honestly be a day where, like, this motherfucker has killed somebody. And, man, dude, it's kind of fucking weird, dude. It's kind of surreal to be like, oh shit, at least not literally, but, like, I kind of know a fucking killer. Like, what the fuck? I mean, and the thing is, I kind of have to wrap that around with somebody that's in my own fucking family, too, by the way. Like, I mean, I won't get too much into that. I've talked about it before. But, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around, honestly. Especially when it's close, in a sense. I mean, this isn't really that close, but, like, it kind of tickles the same feelings in a way that, you know, like when it comes to my uncle that, you know, like pretty much all my family thinks is a killer and shit. So it's like, which honestly, considering, you know, what we know and everything, yeah, there probably is a strong likelihood of that. But like I said, I won't get too far into that, you know, I won't the greatest, you know, or like, you know, derail it too further. But either way, it's just, it's a weird feeling. And it's just like something I can't totally wrap my brain around, because, like, ugh, you know, it's like, what the fuck? Especially considering that, like, especially if you actually know the person, it's just another fucking weird vibe.
Gary Epe. People want me to pronounce his name correctly. If you've ever watched the show, you know that I tend
That's how you pronounce it correctly.
correctly if I don't respect you. Anyway, pretty good show for you guys tonight. We're going to look into his recent interview he did. And
I'll take a piss while I'll let this keep playing for a second. I'll be right back.
He's mentioned he apparently is going to take a lie detector test, and he's been dragged down to the station for a taped interrogation. So things are heating up on his end. Obviously, he still completely maintains his innocence. We're going to look at his video and see if it tracks with an innocent man or not. But one thing I think we can all agree upon, regardless if you think Jeff Garapeye is innocent or not, is how fucking strange this guy is. Guilty or innocent, it's fascinating to look at what a circus freak this dude is from top to fucking bottom. So appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. Have a couple updates. It's been several weeks since we did the last true crime episode of this show. If you're just now catching up, basically JF Garapeye, I know that's how you pronounce his name, I don't care. He claims his wife went missing, y'all. They just had a newborn baby. Probably haven't even been weaned off the nipple yet, and they just had another baby that's like a year or two old. But in the middle of the night, I guess, she decided, hey, I'm going to go live in the woods. Or maybe it's a suburban trip. He's changed his story, and he just drove her to a gas station and dropped her off, and then she was gone for like 2 days, and then she sent a text message, and she's like, I'm going to just drop off the grid, right? No one's going to be able to contact me. I am not going to be able to be found. And this is totally normal because she is like 007. So this case is fascinating to me, folks, for many reasons. First of all,
she's actually a 007 agent. Gives his light you Suba's beach.
Jeff Garapeye basically has the same job I do. Now, obviously, he does it way worse than I do. He's boring as shit. But he's a right-wing version of me. And so I've gathered some insight.
This is what this is your previous better. Bitch, if you don't spread them cheeks, I swear to God, brother. I swear to God, you old white boy. What was that? Whoa. Whoa. Dusty is at like 1 frame per 3 seconds. We're at like 0.05 frames a second. Whoa. What? Oh my God. What the fuck? It didn't die. It just decided to disconnect for some stupid reason. And I also like how the Daily Beast even is saying white supremacist vlogger Jean-François partner has been missing since June. I like how even right here it's just like, yeah, white supremacist, piece of shit.
His job. And if you do live streaming like we do, and you're used to performing live, to be honest with you, it actually makes you a good liar. Because you're able to fire thoughts off the top of your head rapid fire, but you also, with practice, still have a small, tiny filter in your head that allows you to not say the things you're not supposed to say. But the fact that you're speaking so quickly off the top of your head makes you seem sincere. And JF Garapeye
that's true.
Has this ability. He's been doing live streaming longer than I am.
Hey.
And so at times I actually want to believe he's not guilty, but the story just doesn't make any sense. I mean, can you guys name one other case, one other one, I can't seem to name one, where a woman just got up and decided that she was leaving her 2 newborn kids and also decided, hey, I've decided to drop off the face of the planet. No one's ever going to be able to contact me again. I'm never going to contact you again or my family again. And then the case didn't end up to be where the husband actually killed her. Can anybody name a case like that? So Occam's razor...
I mean, I've never honestly heard any scenario where, like, you know, like, I mean, like, I know there are definitely, you know, scenarios and cases where people, like, you know, will, like, up and leave or, like, you know, divorce or this and that, like, you know, after, like, you know, a child is, you know, in a situation or something like that. But, you know, or, like, I mean, there's a lot of various different, you know, like, things that can happen. But usually it's not just, like, falling off the face of the earth. It's usually just, like, more like fuck this, I'm moving on, or whatever the fuck. I mean, there's usually something else at play at that point. But they never fall off the face of the earth and just disappear.
It doesn't make any other sense. But once again, I would just want to state I have no inside information into anything except for what I'm going to show you on the stream. He is innocent until proven guilty and absolutely should not be put in prison before he is convicted of a crime in court. Everything we're saying here is just for fun. It's a thought experiment. So you guys can tell me what you think about it.
All speculation. But I think, realistically, we kind of know what's going on here,
So we last checked in together. Several mainstream media outlets have been covering the story, which is
especially in Canada. Like, I found out, like, there are straight up, like, local Canadian, like, and national, like, Canadian outlets that actually are talking about this. Like, this is actually, at least in Canada, like, a national story over there. Like, I mean, once it kind of started breaking, like, that's when all this shit started really happening. And, and once JF started becoming a suspect, it's like, once it started breaking national news coverage, once her family put out a missing persons report. And nothing's come up, despite a correlation with JF.
Here is the Daily Beast. White supremacist vlogger Jean-Francis Gariepi. I'm going to get it right. Partner has been missing since June. It goes into the article. Another one by Newsweek even came out. White supremacist wants more control over women after a girlfriend disappears. True story. We've played you guys all the clips of him saying similar things.
Yep.
So we're going to start tonight with a clip from his fall stream show episode 965, where he mentions the Newsweek reporter asking him for a comment, and he gives a comment live. But then we're going to watch about maybe, 20, 30 minutes of this stream, because why it doesn't exactly deal with his missing wife. It does go to illustrate how desperate he seems to find another woman very quickly and impregnate her extremely quickly.
Which kind of implies that, like, he's essentially totally moved on, and if she's still around and alive, which in the past, supposedly, he said if she wishes to come back, then she's free to come back at any time that she wants. But, fast forward to now, suddenly he's like, I wish to inseminate another woman. It's like, curious how you moved on so quickly without a care in the world.
Believe he's going to be free very long, and he wants to have as many children because, as we've covered before, he's completely obsessed with children. So it's just so creepy. Sight unseen, he basically does a 30-minute rant trying to pressure this woman, who he doesn't even know what she looks like, into moving to Canada and getting inseminated by him so he can spit out a kid. And even 6 months in the future is too long for him. He is desperate for it to happen now. And if you don't come now, mystery woman, it's going to be too late. So let's take a look at that first. Here is the fall stream. This website he's using, Odyssey, is slow.
That the has-been e-celebs that are interested in my private life, and now the mainstream journalists are sending me interview questions and that kind of crap. They want to do hit pieces on the history of Mama JF, the story of Mama JF, and yet all of these people are looking for trouble. They're all looking to seed trouble. They're not
unlike you, we're looking for your wife, JF Gariepi.
Interested in the safety of
I mean, the idea that, like, there's some, like, these news reporters looking for trouble, is that kind of like a weird threat or something?
JF at all. They are just wanting trouble and wanting to cover trouble. Here's an editor of Newsweek. Hi, I'm a senior reporter with Newsweek working on a story about the missing person report about Mama JF. Would you be willing to answer a few questions about her for the story? And I said, depends on the questions. And she answers, do you have a statement that you've been sharing about her being declared missing Some people have questioned you on your social media.
Yeah, you won't even say her name or release her picture still.
What would you say to
Yeah, like, he barely really, like, mentions her by name outside of just Mama GF. Like, that's about as far as it goes.
people who doubt your innocence? What can I insert today? What can I insert to this kind of crap? I mean, there was another, the Daily Beast reporter who had the Daily Beast reporter who had smeared me back in the right-wing days of the internet.
You mean
She
accurately
wants to
reported
write
upon
a
you?
Mama JF story. And she was all, I hope you're well. I'm reaching out because I'm interested in writing about Mama JF's missing persons case.
Laura.
Have you or investigators learned anything new about her whereabouts since you last addressed them online? Are you able to share any information that might help people identify her? Additionally, I know some commenters have implied that you were involved in foul play and that you have denied those claims. Would you like to comment further on those allegations?
Mm-hmm. Release your name.
I already
Ask for help.
answered to the Daily Beast one. I said, here is my statement. The self-appointed journalists who are today interested in the case of a free woman who has decided to travel, which they seek to present to you as a case of male foul play, are the very same
Fair play.
people who were interested years ago at smearing the same male with lies. That should
definitely.
tell you all you need to know about the
I mean, honestly, like, notice that weird little implicit, like, specifically, fair play. Like, it's kind of implying that, like, oh, she's the one who probably did any potential foul play to herself. It's not me that did anything. And the idea that, like, men somehow have foul play to these cases is just silly. Like, he's trying to, already paint himself as a victim, even in response to, to these fucking journalists, just simply asking, like, hey, do you want to provide statements or questions, answers to questions here and there or whatever. Just simple shit. And he's just like, no, you're trying to make me the victim when I'm not.
seriousness of the concerns of these people.
So innocent.
Which, I mean, yeah, you're not a victim, but you're a victimizer, you piece of shit.
Victim.
I don't have much to answer. The other one wants a
Yeah, I'm sure you don't have a lot to answer because, you'd be bullshit.
an
Comment?
official statement. I mean,
Just
she
say, hey, I understand why people think I did it. This is a very fucking strange story. I mean, who just ups and leaves their kids and disappears in the middle of the night? I understand why there's so much interest, but, like, it's just a weird situation. Like, I'm completely innocent. Her name is Laura Piton or whatever her name is. Here's her picture. If anybody's seen her, please contact me or the police or anybody immediately. So I'm no longer considered a suspect, but I definitely understand why you guys aren't looking in the directions you're looking in, and all I want to do is eliminate myself as a suspect as fast as possible, so that we
That
can...
would actually be, like, a reasonable answer if he actually, wanted to, genuinely perceive himself as innocent. And if he wasn't guilty of anything.
this woman like a normal human being, but what he actually says is very telling.
can look at my Twitter account. And I can quote the tweet for her. Here it is, my October 4th tweet. Here, I'm going to send her this. Now, what would you say to people who doubt your innocence?
What I just said, literally every word I just said.
I
Pretty much.
don't
simple.
care what a bunch of low intelligence people think about my innocence.
See,
Like, is he, like, illiterate or some shit? Like, he, like, reads so slow. He's like, yeah, a bunch of low intelligent people, just want to try to disprove my innocence. It's like, I mean, it's like, what, can you barely read or something?
bullshit answer. It's not because we're low intelligence, it's because your story doesn't make fucking sense. Like, you should acknowledge that it seems like a crazy, wild story, but it just happens to be true. Sometimes weird shit is true. Instead of pretending like, oh, we're such fucking idiots for believing this incredibly out there story and not just looking at who it usually
It's like Slot for the Goonies calling someone retard.
the husband, but pretending we're dumb, not a great move.
I don't care what a bunch of low intelligence people think about my innocence.
So funny.
You have to take
That's a pretty nervous laugh out of him.
what they give you, and this is some degree of mainstream media coverage. I'm gonna take it, but it's it's interfacing with a part of society that I totally despise, and that I don't care what these idiots are thinking about their theory.
Idiots. Yeah, like the idea that like, people, see that you're guilty and that you victimized a woman and killed her, and then probably like left her body somewhere in the fucking Canadian forests out in Quebec or some shit. Or like New Brunswick, wherever the fuck, or even in like, Prince Edward Island or wherever you left her.
Nope.
The respect to people like that, you're all way smarter than JF.
He has ever cared more about this shit than you, JF. Gary Epe.
What you think is irrelevant. You guys have no clue what you're talking about. All these journalists, they all work on public information.
What you say, yeah.
I've laid it out in interviews, so if they want to follow through
That's why we think you're guilty, dude, because of every word you said.
with the interviews, they will know the truth. But
Yeah, but
If we were to decide to take it at face value like a fucking moron, yeah, then I guess it could be perceived as truth, but it isn't. Because your shit doesn't make sense.
leave you. That's the thing. You don't come off as credible. Everything you're saying sounds like bullshit.
it's like at some point, I can't do more than I've already done. And
You literally could do so much more. You could say her name, publish her picture, like literally the basic smallest thing you could do. You haven't done.
moving on.
I mean, even like a sociopath would understand that, like, hey, if I want to perceive myself as innocent, even if I might potentially be guilty, would try to, like, do better than this. Like, I mean, it kind of shows how stupid he might, he really honestly is. Because, like, yeah, sure, he might have a PhD in neuroscience or whatever the fuck, but, like, look at Ben Carson. Like, he's a neurosurgeon, but he's a fucking moron when it comes to literally everything else. I mean, just because you have a PhD in something, doesn't necessarily make you a fucking genius in everything else.
It's only from this subject, but I just wanted
that's
to
nice,
update
though.
you guys about this.
Well, I mean, like, for example, like, Ben Carson literally in the middle of an interview for, like, what, CNN or some shit was like, oh, my luggage, and just, like, randomly walked off, just out of nowhere. It's like, I mean, and that guy was a neurosurgeon at one point. It's like, huh?
Yeah, my baby mama's gone. My wife, the mother of my 2 infant children, disappeared. I'm moving on from the subject. I don't even want to talk about this anymore, y'all.
It's what you have to deal with when there's
kill your
all these
wife.
people who are on your case. Kelly Whale. This is the one who lied.
I wonder
about-
why they're on your case there, bud, because they're trying to solve a missing persons report, you piece of shit. Like, I mean, which is seriously fucking telling that he wants to just move on from this so much, despite the fact that, she's missing and hasn't been seen or heard from, since, like, fucking June. So, like, I mean, like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like, at this point, it's like, even if you are innocent, which you're not, like, I mean, you would at least have some perception of, like, hey, like, here's how I can at least, prove my innocence. But, you're not, like, just your fucking words, just say pretty much the exact opposite, because you keep digging a fucking deeper grave every time you do.
In 2017, she wants to keep lying
What a
about
bitch.
me. And so I
Don't
have
kill her.
nothing but insults to send to these people. I despise them, and I will use them to the extent that I can gain coverage from it. But other than this, these people cannot help this search anyway because they don't know anything.
We can help more than you. Can at least get her name out there. Elora, we can get her picture out there. We can try, JF.
Gray says, I like true crime too, but these people have clearly done no investigation into what Mama JF was like. Exactly.
Bullshit.
It's
Which is...
like, if you want to be serious about understanding this story,
Right.
the first thing you would have to do is go back and see my currently live available collection of videos.
Okay, here's the crazy part. He has scrubbed his entire video list of Mama JF, Elora. Okay, there are
Yeah, which I was mentioning from earlier before we kind of started delving deeper into it. Like, I mean, a lot of it's like, you know, videos and stuff like that from the past and shit. You know, when Mama J was around with Laura, like a lot of that has pretty much been scrubbed and shit. And, you know, a lot of it's basically, you know, to try to, like, you know, hide any potential, you know, possible questionable moments or red flags that might have, you know, come up leading up to her disappearance. Because frankly, for what is out there, there honestly are a lot of different fucking red flag, you know, moments. Like, I remember where he was talking with, I think, like, Big Papa Fascist or some shit. I forgot which. It's some right-wing piece of shit. But, like, you know, a part of, you know, the same sphere as JF. But, like, out of nowhere, she comes in, you know, when he was talking with her, or talking with the other guest, like, just being like, oh, yeah, and this person, you know, wants to try to get me, and this and that, the blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, just kind of freaking out and having, you know, some sort of an episode. And, you know, and just, like, essentially, like, JF, like, you know, mutes the whole thing and tries to, like, you literally just push her away, essentially, and try to get her, you know, out of the room. And it's basically a major red flag kind of, you know, scenario where it's like, why is she saying that and pointing to the dude as a guest? And also, like, I mean, while all that's going on, it's not just simple as, like, an episode, so to speak. Like, I mean, you know, like, so there's a lot of red flags in the past, you know, when Mama JF's been a guest where, you know, it kind of leads to suspect where you probably had a, you know, very strong motive to not have her around anymore.
few videos out there still of her. But most,
I mean, whether that is just ditching her in the middle of nowhere or, like, you know, fucking straight up killing her or some shit, like, however it really truly happened, like, I mean, he is the main culprit as to, you know, her disappearance. Impossible and strongly likely death.
that was out there, he's completely scrubbed. So this is all bullshit.
Not watch little clips that people are taking out of context.
That's all
here
you've
and
left
there.
for us to watch,
Watch
dude.
the actual show.
Taken out of context, huh?
For you.
Hey, I mean, this is an uncut stream that we're watching of you. I mean, I don't think there's any context being left out, bitch. At least especially of how I'm deep diving it. Well, I mean, I'm reacting to the deep dive that Dusty's doing. But you know what? Hey, with the collective deep dive that's going on here, I mean, I'm pretty sure nothing's, you know, left uncut, bitch.
And it's all there, publicly available. So
for your show.
It's like, what else could I tell you in an email that's going?
Her name, her picture,
like literally any information about her.
anything
to help you if you can't help yourself. Today, this afternoon, I canceled the insemination request.
So weird, y'all.
I wanted to update you guys because I didn't.
So remember, he's a pussy magnet now. He's got the killer's bounty. All these women that now want his dick because.
And you're watching me. So it's a deep, deep, deep dive. True. That is true. And also, like, this is a weird thing that is partly true. Supposedly, at least, like, JF has been getting a lot of women. And this is actually kind of statistically true where, like, for men that have, like, killed or, like, a murder before, they would have, like, these weird, like, you know, cases of, like, women, and sometimes dudes even, you know, where they would have, like, this obsession about, like, that person, you know, to the point that they want to, like, you know, be married with them and, like, all that crazy shit. And basically, it's, like, you know, one of those things where it's, I forgot the exact, terminology for what it's called, but there's like an actual phrase in psychology for it. But like, in the fact that JF is kind of admitting that there are, you know, like women already, to at least, you know, allegedly already doing this for him, you know, considering the circumstances, I think is also really fucking telling. Like, I mean, there are, you know, people that already kind of believe that you did this and are willing to basically dive on your dick for it. Like, I mean, that is another red flag, in my opinion, when it comes to, like, this whole scenario of him killing her.
He's a murderer, which is totally hot. Turns out all he's talking about is some woman who he doesn't even know. That hasn't even seen a real picture of her, who's 39 years old, and messaged him and said, yeah, I want to have your babies. That's what.
Which likely is probably just getting catfished with the specific, you know, thing that he's talking about.
I'm all hard excited. And now he's going to go public and try to humiliate this woman and pressure her into leaving her family and moving to Canada to have his baby sight unseen.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's if this woman's even real. I mean, there's a likelihood he could be being catfished.
Right now.
Maybe by, like, either a troll or maybe even by, like, you know, Canadian agent, you know, to, like, see if they maybe can, like, you know, weasel some information out of him that way or something like that, or, you know, or something.
Definitely nothing strange about this. At the very least, it doesn't seem like he thinks Laura is coming back ever.
Mentioned a couple of shows ago, I believe, that there might be a possibility of insemination presenting to me.
Weird.
Originally, this girl was very, very interested, you know, and seemed extremely motivated. She was like, everything was good. I'm going to move in with you. I like your genes. I want us to have babies together. We will have good genes, baby.
Good genes, baby. And the good genes, babies.
Genes, babies, and
babies. The way he just like describes all this is so fucking just like, I mean, it's almost like how you would discuss, like, you know, breeding, like, you know, like some sort of, like, you know, racehorse or some shit, dude. It's like, oh yes, this would be a good genetic little stallion right here. Once we get her inseminated, and you want to watch? Yes, yeah, sure. This stallion would make for a good price. You know, once I sell them. It's like, I mean, it just sounds like some weird shit like that. I mean, like the way he describes, like, you know, having a relationship with a woman is almost like, you know, cattle-like. It's just like fucking weird. I'm glad to finally meet you, the agent post office blonde wake and points a gun at him. JF, you're under arrest. Dude, that'd be great.
And so she was part of those contacting me as part of this whole personal life story and kind of taking me in pity. And
you are pitiful.
And I'm like, I don't need pity. And
a lot. You got it.
And I quickly told her, you know, since I saw she was a woman, although her profile picture was very small, I couldn't see if she was beautiful. But I could see she was a woman, and I said, if you're interested in having babies, let me know.
God, has there anybody who is...
So, like, he basically got convinced by some grainy profile picture. Oh my god, what a fucking moron. I mean, he's basically like a Ben Carson in this case. Like, oh my god, he's like a fucking idiot when it comes to, like, literally anything else. Like, holy shit.
This guy has
What a
fans.
retard, dude.
People, they call themselves alpha males. Holy god. This is just the saddest shit, JF.
And she was super red-pilled. She was like, yeah.
Super red-pilled. Like, oh my god. Dude, man, you know that video earlier that we were watching? Yeah, there might have been some accurate points. Like, I mean, French Canadians are pretty inferior as fuck because they do sound stupid when they talk. Honestly, when I heard that, now that I'm thinking about it, holy shit, that is accurate.
To serve my husband, I will serve you forever. You deserve the best wife. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be serving your husband in prison.
It's a nice project. But, you know, you guys were warning me, maybe she's a Fed, maybe she's a Fed. I still don't know whether she's a Fed, but...
Definitely a Fed.
As Probably. I told you guys, my approach is impossible to pierce for a Fed or for a journalist. Because my approach is, if you haven't been inseminated by me within the first week, we're done.
Gotta fuck on the first date.
And so I was...
It's like, if we cannot disseminate within the first date in the marriage, and it is over. Like, oh my god, that's just so fucking disturbingly weird. And you know what, like, I mean, I will kind of take a little side rail here for a second, like a little side detour here for a minute. Like, I mean, the idea of, like, you know, maybe hooking up with somebody and maybe go on a date with someone and, you know, shit kind of clicks, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you got some vibes going on where it's like, hey, you know, we really like each other. And it inevitably ends up being a fuck on that first date, you know? That type of shit's fun. That happens a lot, honestly. I mean, you know, like, you know, that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. But, like, I mean, this whole weird, like, fishing / like, coercion of, like, no, we must inseminate within the first date type of thing, that's fucking freaky as shit, dude. And that's so manipulative and very coercive. And it's not very consensual, too, either, by the way. It's like, there's one, because, for what I'm talking about from initially, that's consensual because shit kind of clicks and, some sparks kind of fly, and it's like, hey, let's go back to my place, or go back to your place, or wink, wink, type of thing. It's like, like, that type of shit, when the sparks, kind of click enough, like, that is a whole separate scenario. Like, this type of shit is just like, what the fuck, bro? Thing click. You got a lot of drink, condom breaks. Oh, no. Well, luckily, like, if you're smart enough, you're all taking, like, the morning after pill, or at least having other precautionary measures in place outside of just a condom. So, I mean, if you're really smart about it, you would do more than just a condom. Which, someone like JF is obviously vehemently opposed to, and probably thinks any form of contraceptive is, like, basically of Satan or some shit, so. But contraception, good. It's back and forth child support cases, and mom's like, tell me what your dad said, and your dad's like, tell me what your mom said, and it's back and forth. Ah! I'm fine. Dude, yeah, no, I feel you. Did you just, like, speak to my soul? Because I feel you with that. Especially my mom. Like, she would be like, what's your dad doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, and this and that and all this sort of shit. And it's like, oh my... You my soul with that. Dude, what the fuck? You really just kind of hit me in the core right there, dude. You hit me in the core with that one. Be careful. You don't hit me so close. Holy shit. You just brought... oh my god. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, this is all very
Normal.
very interesting talk, very, very nice foreplay, lady.
Definitely.
Very nice foreplay.
Haha, we're laughing.
Very nice foreplay. Where is the Bion and Sabanato?
She just says,
Freak.
go ahead and inseminate me.
Totally.
But I'm like, there's going to be serious things you have to do. She was outside of Canada. So I'm like, it's going to be some sort of immigration thing. There's going to be lots of administrative thing. We might get separated while you're pregnant. You might have to come back through another immigration route. And
Weird thought. I wonder if any people are strictly friends who decide to have children together. I'm sure that's honestly have happened before. Like, people who are, like, kind of friends with benefits, or maybe, like, straight up, like, kind of friends. I guess have maybe enough of a connection to where maybe they want to have a child or something. I mean, honestly, I kind of, like, feel like, that's probably have happened before. I mean, maybe, like, I'm sure every time it happens, it's literally under various different circumstances, but I'm honestly sure it probably happens. The older I get, the happier I'm never reproduced. Ugh. Dude, yeah, honestly, I'm young as fuck, but, like, I don't want to, ever. Like, I mean, I won't go as far as to, like, do a vasectomy or anything like that, personally, but, that's just me. But, like, yeah, I'm gonna ensure, without a shadow of doubt that ain't gonna fucking happen, as far as I'm concerned. Or at least as it stands now. If I win, like, the lottery or some shit, then maybe I might reconsider it, because then I can at least set my kid up, but, and they'll be fine. But, I gotta talk about privilege. But anyway, but, like, yeah, there ain't no way in hell. Like, nope. I don't know if Zukov, I guess, disagrees. What's up? Can I help you? What's up? Doggo. Hey. I need to be rich enough to have a full-time live-in nanny. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, basically. But knowing me, I would certainly make sure that they're paid well. Zukov! I'll distract him with pork bun. Comes right back over here. Is like, oh, what, pork bun? Got genetic shit, sicker than my height. I'm not having a kid deal with that. I mean, yeah, considering that I am autistic, there is, I guess, that element, but that's not really the end all be all for me necessarily. I guess all in all, like, genetic lottery wise, I mean, I don't really have it, the worst, I suppose. Not that it really fucking matters. Like, but that's just, how the lottery worked, for me, I suppose. But either way, it's just like, I mean, I guess to me, it's not really the genetic aspect thing. It's just more about, like, literally everything else. Like, I don't, and even, well, I guess it is, in a way, because I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't want to, like, like, I don't have this weird fixation of my genetic line or whatever the fuck. I just, so it's not really that big of a deal to me. I don't give a shit. I mean, if circumstances, happen to be where I could maybe potentially, have a child, and maybe I feel like, circumstances down the line, are okay for me, and I feel like, maybe that's alright, then maybe. But honestly, at the end of the day, like, as it stands now, and at least until further notice, fuck no, son, bitch. Like, there ain't no way. Can't even stay on my feet for more than a few hours. Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's like, considering how tall I am, being 6'2", which isn't, I guess, like, super tall. Like, I mean, I got back issues, not, like, severely, but every now and then I'm like, I kind of slouch, a lot. I mean, I guess maybe not a lot, but, like, I kind of have, like, tendencies to do that. And, like, and it's, a lot of that's because, of my workplace, and a lot of, like, my, I guess in a way, general lifestyle stuff. Like, I mean, it makes it a little bit more prone for the leaning to happen. But, I mean, like, that's just kind of, the unfortunate circumstance with that. That's why, honestly, I always, do some stretches and shit, because, like, I always try to mentally, remind myself, like, hey, do some of these bad boys. And, oh my god, that felt fucking awesome. Oh, see what I mean? See what I mean? Oh, that just felt great. So, and that's why I always like to do that type of shit, because, like, kind of helps loosen myself up, try to keep myself at least a better posture, because it's definitely something that, it's not good. It's not necessarily inherently a genetic thing, but because of my height, and, like, honestly, at my workplace, I'm bonking my fucking head on so many goddamn things, I have to legit, like, slouch, at my work a lot. I have to do this a lot, because if not, I'm bonking my fucking head on so many different things that I would get a concussion at the end of it. It's like, I mean, it's ridiculous. So honestly, I do have to slouch a lot, especially at work, because with how everything is designed at work, it's meant for people that are, like, legit, like, 6 foot or shorter. Like, I mean, so I'm always, like, sometimes if I'm not careful enough, like, the dishwasher, like, it has, like, this little top part, and shit, I'll hit my head on that. Like, there's these little emergency, water, pipes, above our fryers. I bonk my head on that a bunch of times. There's just so many different things I just bonk my head in the back of the kitchen. It's ridiculous. I'm surprised I'm not like a, hey, you guys, sloth motherfucker because of it. The damn shorts ruined this for us tall Zignar. I know! They ruined it! Hot take, bearing children is a selfish, egotistical act. I don't really disagree with that, yeah. I mean, like, I can understand the idea of maybe, like, hey, I want to try to have, like, I guess, like, a direct influence on the next generation, when it comes to, like, having kids, try to, like, put your ideas, forth, and stuff. I mean, but it's still a selfish type of thing, you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I can at least understand it when their parents are responsible and actually do mean well and are actually trying to put out, like, a good person out there in the world, like, in every way and type of shit. Like, I can at least, get that. And there are generally a lot of parents, maybe with flaws and everything and all, like, that do generally fucking try. And I can at least grant that. But it's like, like, if there isn't, like, at least some sort of, like, attempt to try to, like, put some selflessness in your selfish thing there, then, like, you're just kind of a shitbag. And you're being neglectful as a parent at that point. Like, I mean, considering, the selfishness that, comes with that, I mean, there needs to at least be some sort of, like, selfless act, from that. I mean, it's not just, patty cakes, type of shit. Like, I mean, there's a lot of, shit that goes into raising a kid. I'm not, what? Yeah, what, you think criticizing you or something?
No, I'm just remembering all the times I had to haul your screaming ass.
Oh my god.
Through the parking lot and sit there and miss my meal.
Wait, what? Oh my god, what the fuck?
Or the concert or whatever.
Wait, what? What the fuck is he even talking about? He's just bullshit. You're gaslighting me. No.
No, I'm not.
No, I don't even believe you.
Kid, I had to haul you out and I had to sit there in the parking lot and listen to you.
I'm being gaslit. Look at this.
No, I'm not.
Offspring demand attention.
See, I was being a responsible parent. You had like a screaming kid.
Well, I guess I demanded attention.
Picked him up. Well, yeah. Well, I wanted to give you a whole lot more attention than you got, but anyhow.
Well, excuse me. Wow, being responsible, huh?
I beat the crap out of you because you're just a little kid.
Wow, you thought about beating the shit out of me as a little toddler. Oh my god. Wow, the admission came out.
No,
you should be thanking him. Well, the fact that he thought about it is a little fucked up, honestly, don't you think? I mean...
I wasn't thinking about it. Most people would have done it, but I didn't. Because you're my kid.
Okay, most people... Okay, most parents, if they're worth a shit, wouldn't do that. Granted, they probably would have thought about it, but I don't think any of them would have admitted it to their kid.
You're a young, screaming larva.
Wow! A larva? Did you just call me a larva? Oh my god, wow. I'm just getting roasted over here. What the fuck?
You were a pain in the butt. But the moment
I mean, I ain't gonna disagree with that. I won't disagree with that.
You were screaming until I crawled up into the corner where it was dark and it's just like
larva? Yeah, he just called me a larva. He just called my young bitch ass from back in like 1999 a fucking larva, bro. Like, you just called my 1990 like little toddler ass a larva. Larvae Husky, dude. If we weren't doing like a true crime stream specifically, I would just rename the stream to Larva Husky. I would just, you know what? That's just gonna be in the next stream. It's gonna probably be in the morning, but that's what's happening. We're calling it the Larva stream now. Wow, a meme has been born. Oh my god.
Needless to say, I don't do little kids very well.
Me neither. So.
I did pretty good with you. You're still alive, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose I turned out stable enough. I guess.
That's disputable, but anyhow...
What the fuck? Disputable? I think I've done a pretty good job for myself, thank you very much, asshole. Like, excuse me? Call me a larva and now disputing? Oh my god. Wow. I see how much he has, like, I see the confidence he has in me as his child. He has a lot of confidence in me, apparently.
did have confidence in you.
Did?
Kill you.
You did it. Now you don't. Now you. That says you don't now. What?
It's paying off.
He did at one point, but not anymore.
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. I caught you. Explain yourself.
I had confidence in you, and you turned out good. So.
Okay. I had to make sure how to catch you. He didn't kill you, so you got that going for you? Well, yeah.
You turned out to be a decent person, so I'm happy that I didn't kill you. As soon as you started screaming in my face, and being happy you were born.
Oh my god. Well, you know, I was just screaming at the world saying, fuck all of you, I'm gonna rebel against you. And I've been doing that pretty much ever since, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, at least he agrees, so. I'm pretty sure, I think everyone would agree on that one.
Yeah, stick you in a dark corner, you'll shut up.
I was meant to be a night owl.
You get that from me.
Well, honestly, I think, you know, some people's, like, little biological clocks are kind of more night owlish in comparison.
Yeah, mine is just...
I mean, I think that just kind of goes back to our nomadic days, basically. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, some people of the tribe had to stay up all night to make sure that they weren't attacked by shit, you know, and, like, you know, there was people awake, you know, while everyone else was sleeping for that, you know, obviously. Like the night guard, essentially, you know, so to speak, and shit.
I would be that person.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, I would be too. And I'll also probably literally be doing this more than not, so I'd also probably be maybe a shaman too. I could see myself as like a shaman in the nomadic days, dude, or some shit. Like, honestly, yeah, I see myself as kind of like the shaman, dude. I could see myself as like the religious leader of like the nomadic tribe or some shit.
Oh, wait! It's not dark yet. I'm sleeping.
Yeah, it's like, I must sleep, you know, and once it's evening, then I will go forage for the mushrooms, and then we can all ponder our religious rituals together.
I will tell your fortune when it gets dark.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me sleep.
Let me sleep. I'm still getting over my mushroom phase and haze and all that shit. Birds of a feather drink together. I was a false prophet in our life.
If you ever connect with some mushrooms, I could...
Well, you should have said something the fucking first time I had it. Well, I might honest...
I've mentioned that before.
I honestly, you know, must have just had it glaze over me. But I'll make sure that the next time I do that, you know, they are shared. I'll ensure of that.
You give me heads up properly at the beginning of the month when I have money.
Okay, alright, fair enough.
Before Mom takes it all away from me.
Okay, alright, fair enough. Oh yeah, we're also, wait, hold on. That time you got drunk when you were little, your dad, yep, he's my son, alright. Well, that was unintentional. Everyone had ciders at the party, like, it tastes like apple juice, I'm sorry. Which, yeah, apple ciders do generally basically do taste like apple juice. Like, I've had Angry Orchards and ciders now, you know, and as an adult, and yeah, as a little young kid, I can honestly see myself mistakenly thinking that's just like apple juice in a bottle for some reason. So, you know, like, at least, like, when it comes to the gut, you know, so to speak, I could see, you know, that being a thing. At least, you know, for myself. I thought beer was gross, couldn't figure out why my dad drank it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of most beers. I mean, some of them can be okay, I guess. I mean, but I'm more of like a cider. I mean, or I guess hard seltzer, IPAs can be alright. I'm down for some stouts every now and then. Like, pretty much anything that isn't like your traditional beer, basically. Like, I mean, if it's like, you know, Pabst or Bud Light or whatever the fuck, get that away from me. I guess if I have to, if that's the only thing to drink, then fine, I'll do it. But, like, Like, I mean, so, for me, I kind of like, you know, like, the subgenres of beers that are out there. Like, you know, the IPAs, stouts, you know, ciders, especially ales, things like that. Like, those, like, ales and ciders, those are my go-to. I love that shit. At least if we're going to talk about, like, you know, the different varieties of beers that are out there and shit. I mean, I guess, like, when it comes to, like, you know, the Daily Driver, hard seltzers, you know, are pretty, you know, whatever. Honestly, the Trulies are, like, you know, for me, would be, like, the Daily Driver for me. Because, like, just tastes like a hard soda. They don't even seem like a seltzer to me.
But I will always be there to care for you, and no matter the distance, I will get you back here as soon as possible.
Has not even seen this woman yet, y'all. Gonna move her to another country, sight unseen.
So we have to kind of ignore these administrative things, and you have in life you have to
I need a Powerade.
to decide and do it. And she was into it. So I thought,
So
oh my
into
God,
it.
even those big things, that does involve some degree of stress, she's willing to take them. But there was a little bunch of clues, attachment to her mother, way too high.
Can't have that. You have to isolate them. You got to get them completely away from their family and isolate them so they're totally under your control. Right, JF?
There were a couple of red flags that I was
Yes, red
digging.
flags.
And it boiled down to, okay, this girl is super attached to her family and staying where she is.
Terrible.
And so this morning, she said, I'm thinking about going toward your place, and I think I have another idea. What about you come to my place?
Nope.
And it's like, no, lady, there's no such thing. I don't care. I will pay all of your bills for traveling. You can come here for free. I'll give you all the food you need, but I'm not moved.
I think it's kind of telling that he doesn't want to really move somewhere else. Or really visit, from what it sounds like. Because if you think about it, which, I mean, there's kind of considering that there isn't really, like, any picture or anything like that he's even seen, of this lady, supposedly. A part of me thinks that this is, like, a Canadian law enforcement agent that is trying to see if he can, like, coax him to a location, and that, agent's, like, a female agent to at least kind of play the role as, like, this lady. And, and my guess is while he's away, or at least the idea was, if he were to agree to it, while he's away, like, they can do a search warrant of his house and then, pretty much have free will to deep clean basically his entire house and find whatever potential evidence there might be. And I think he's very fucking well aware of that. And he doesn't want to leave. Like, he wants to stay at his place, at least for the time being, because he doesn't want law enforcement just unconditionally just, like, searching his fucking place, basically.
From here. I'm not...
Jay's name stands for jumped.
I'm not
can't leave the country
moving
anyway.
for a random woman
He's
who
under
I know
investigation
nothing
for murder,
about.
lady.
I'm the man with the social proof.
He's got so much social proof.
You're nothing. Like no offense to the lady. I
No
mean, she's
offense.
beautiful.
Yours literally nothing but a dissemination vessel for me.
Fucking piece of shit.
You are nothing. There is no way for me to
This guy is such a fucking pig, bro.
distinguish you from a crack whore.
Awesome.
And so I'm the man with a history of social proof, of loyalty, of never leaving a single woman, of always
Alive.
being subservient to my woman and offering them good life and a
death.
healthy environment to live in.
Until it ain't.
And not only this, I'm happy with my current life. I don't even
totally.
seek a woman.
Even though supposedly that you're being hit up by one and you want to hang out with her at least, have her move in with you and shit. But you're not interested. That seems a little contradictory, wouldn't you think?
So,
No one has ever saw a woman more than you're doing right now. You literally are talking to a woman you've never seen before, offering to move her to another fucking country and pay for everything and get her pregnant. How is this not fucking seeking a woman in your tiny goddamn bird brain? Holy fuck.
I said, no. If you're so attached to your place that that this is already on your mind, you're not the kind of person who can handle life with me. What I need, if I'm ever going to take a woman again in the future, I need a woman who's willing to put a blindfold and follow me into the dark, no matter where I bring.
What? That's fucking really odd. I need a woman willing to put on the blindfold and follow me wherever I go in the dark. Like, so just, like, literally unconditional blind loyalty. Like, but that also seems a little weirdly suspicious of a very specific, like, detail, too. It's like, huh?
I bring her.
Where did you bring
I need
Laura?
a fully dedicated woman, and if within the first days you're already computing this kind of stuff, we are incompatible. That is really too bad. Because
Too bad, strange lady. You wouldn't let me isolate.
It's too bad that I can't isolate you in my little personal fucking abusive little death chamber.
out here in the Canadian wilderness.
It was kind of our last chance at reproduction, you know. And I'm like, you know, and then she came back and said, oh, well, you know, thinking about it, maybe I could go see you in March. But it's like, in March you'll be a non-reproductive, dead-end evolutionary entity.
I know, in 6 months, your egg's gonna dry right up. I wish you could.
Which is so weird. Which, by the way, isn't true because, like, my mom had me when she was in her 40s. My dad was in his 30s, so, which, by the way, is pretty fucking late to have a kid, by the way, just saying. But, I mean, it's like, hey, it's not some evolutionary dead end, because honestly, all things considered, like, if we're gonna take your weird phrenology, racist, genetic bullshit in mind, I am far more fucking superior than you, JF, by every fucking metric. If anything, I'm probably the most perfect alien to you, you son of a bitch. So it's like, you got no room to talk, motherfucker. Like, I mean, it's like, dude, like, I mean, my parents had me pretty late in their lives, so to speak. Like, I mean, my mom was in, like, her early 60s, my dad, I think, just turned, 60 or something? I forgot what. Like, to be honest, I forget their age. Like, they're kind of in that realm, honestly. I kind of feel bad a little bit, but it's just like, oof. But either way, it's just like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it ain't no, like, dead end and shit. You should go to GF and be like, we reject you. Dude, yeah, I should literally just, like, pretend. I should get, like, temporary, like, tattoos and, like, you know, maybe use a Sharpie and just, like, do some detail work and pretend to have, like, a bunch of, like, weird, like, Quebec-y shit, you know, Nazi shit, just for, like, a few hours and just be like, we reject you, you piece of shit. You know, and just act like, you know, some fucking Quebec-y nationalist freak, and then just, like, say, what did we reject you? You are the inferior. You know, you are nothing more than a pawn scum to the rest of us, you know, proper superior. You know, from you. Like, I mean, just for that, just for the meme, dude, I mean, I'll fucking do it. As long as I get paid. I mean, I want to at least get some money out of that. I want some compensation for that. But, I mean, you know, I ain't going to just, you know, doodle some fucking swastika on my face, you know, for nothing, you know. Like, I want to get paid for it. But, you know, just to fucking, you know, like, bitch roast JF, you know, in his face while, you know, being, like, one of his betters, so to speak, you know, especially with his logic. Yeah, I would do it. Just give me, like, you know, $5K or some shit. I mean, I'll do it for cheap. I'll be a cheap whore for it. Like, give me $5K, like, you know, right there. Like, you know, cash right then and there, and I'll fucking, you know, do it. Like, I don't give a fuck. It'd just be for, like, you know, literally a couple hours, and I could just, like, take a shower, just scrub the shit out of myself, and it'll be gone. I mean, maybe there'll be the most faintest of, like, smudges, you know, from what's left of it, but, I mean, at that point, it would just kind of look like a little bruise, and I could say, oh, well, you know, hit my head or something. I mean, I could just say that or something. Or just be like, oh yeah, it was makeup that didn't quite get totally removed. I could probably actually use makeup remover. That'd probably work.
He really means, I'm not going to be free in 6 months, baby. You got to come now. Get this dick now.
It's like, that's why I was pressing from the big...
Oh, that sounds cool. Icarus Witch. Wait, what was the name of that album? No Devil Lived On.
With her.
I'm intrigued by that.
But you're not seeking
You have to act quick. If I see you not acting quick, I'm not interested.
Then your lips to be like, look at this Nazi Husky. Just spread it like wildfire. Oh my god. Dude, and I would have to literally just be like, I would have to explain that it was literally for fucking on JF to insult him specifically because that was the whole point. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, you know what? You're right. Oh shit. There'd be like the out of context cancellation and shit. I would be, yeah, I'll have to get my, like, dude, I would have to do the upgrade from the ukulele. I would get my guitar and, look, it was dumb of me. And I did not realize that I should not have done that. But it was the fuck on JF. And I thought that it would fuck on him really hard. But It fucked me up more than him. Oh my god. Holy shit. That would be... Dude, oh. You know what? I mean, I think my apology video might actually top it. You know what? Just for that, I might... Dude, okay, why am I winning myself back into it? No, like, I don't want to get canceled, but at the same time, that apology video would be fire. Fuck! Oh, man, just don't make me contemplate this.
And getting a Down syndrome baby when you're 40 years old, you know?
Yeah, because 6 months, baby gonna turn all Down syndrome in 6 months.
So it's like now or never.
Yep, exactly. In 6 months, if he does not inseminate her as a vessel, she would have Down syndrome babies. I mean, in fairness, if JF thought a real Aryan rejected him, he'd probably kill himself. I mean, honestly, you know what? That's kind of the point. That's the whole point. So, you know, and if it works, then my apology video would just be me doubling down. Hence, you know, the guitar would be in place, and I would just realistically, in the halfway through the video, just be like, "Nah, fuck you, I don't actually apologize." Because he was a Nazi scum, and he would have some of this dick. And
she chose never, it seems. Now, when you drop this woman and you kind of detach from a couple of weeks, maybe she will come back and maybe she will change her mind, but those are non-negotiable. I don't even make those rules. I just know enough about the world that I cannot take a half-committed woman who still has attachment to anything else.
Besides me, because I must struck by Zelzigo.
It says, Jeff, you could go to Thailand or Vietnam and easily get a super beautiful woman who's 25 and will gladly go to Canada, and she won't ask you to move to Vietnam. Yeah.
I'd have to leave the house.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
But I do not even want to invest the energy of this dating moment of developing some kind of a relationship where I have to...
What, you don't want to, like, you know, splurge a little and spend a week in, like, Thailand and find a little sweetheart or some shit? Like, what, you don't want that? So, like, that sounds like a little... Like, I mean, I think that chatter, whoever the fuck, was kind of, like, laying him up for this whole, like, weird little, like, romance movie style, like, little arc or some shit, but it's like, even then he's like, nah, I don't want the energy, I just want to sit here and be a lazy fucking fat fuck, and just be a bastard, and just, like, sit there, just, like, you know, in his chair all day, and just, like, have some servant, you know, basically, you know, at his attention at all times. Like, I mean, he doesn't want to waste the time to go out somewhere, you know, to go find somebody. Like, you know, potentially. Like, he doesn't want to go waste his time doing it. You know, he wants someone to just, like, flop on his fucking lap.
Out and filter between the crack whores, the Thailand prostitutes.
He loves women.
The family-oriented prostitutes that are actually prostituting themselves to send money to their family.
Yeah, no family.
Which, yeah, this seems like, you know, such... positive, you know, like, you know, comments about, like, how women are, especially in, like, Southeast Asia. Because I guess they're literally either crack whores, prostitutes, and basically nothing else.
The one woman that's truly into building a family.
Plus, you can't leave the country.
The crack whore level in Thailand is, like, it has reached its peak. I'm not going to invest years of my life emotionally ruining myself to explore the dating scene of Thailand, which is filled with prostitution. Prostitution is a mode of life there.
It's too good for prostitution.
I'm pretty sure that's probably only in specific areas, and it's because that's like a stereotype about tourists, because there's like a very strong like sex tourism there. So that's probably why. Like, there are some places that tourists go to specifically for like sex tourism. Like, there are some places, like Amsterdam with the red light district is another place. Like, some people go to the red light district in Amsterdam for sex tourism because they know that that's a place that they can, you know, basically go to a brothel. So it's like, I mean, like, sex tourism is a thing, you know, and that's, like, he basically thinks that's, like, all of Thailand. Like, no, it's not. It's, like, yeah, like, if you go to some places like Bangkok or some shit, yeah, sure, I guarantee you're gonna find that. But, like, I mean, that, like, what, to say the entire fucking country is like that, though, is just absurd. That's just insane and pretty fucking racist as fuck, on top of being misogynistic as fuck. There's ever been a crime case where a couple planned on murdering each other and took each other out on a life insurance policy? Maybe? Well, we know you'd probably like him young, JF. Yeah, that's also another thing that is, like, unfortunately a problem in some of these countries as well, unfortunately. But that's just kind of a problem globally, though. But, I mean, that's just kind of a whole nother topic in itself. I mean, but, yeah, like, that's also another major problem as well. And that also is, unfortunately, you know, kind of a thing that is a risk if you do sex tourism in places like, you know, at least in somewhere like in Thailand, for example. I mean, unfortunately, there is a risk that, you know, if you decide to do that, that person could potentially be a minor. It's like, so if I'm doing sex tourism, I'm going to Amsterdam, and that's where I'm staying, because at least it's guaranteed that those are adults that, you know, are of legal age and all that, so prefer that.
Prostitution is how you live as a woman. And not even mentioning, John Garas mentions them, but that's another problem, the Thai lady boys. Although as a
like cross-dressers and shit.
biologist, I think I have the eye to recognize the Thai lady boy. I don't think I would fall for that one. But it's like
the weird, like, laughter around this makes me think that he probably would, because he would probably be into it.
Holy shit, a lot. You're with this beautiful woman, and she's so subservient that the first thing she does is a blowjob for you. And it's like, no, see, that's your error there. Now your brain
is just like the fucking weird manosphere, like, right-wing shit fuck humor that they have.
Actually attached to a Thai boy.
It's just so creepy.
Oh no, I'm not going through this. I'm way too happy in my life, and I have way too much to build on.
So much to build on.
It's strange how he's, like, so happy now that, like, you know, Laura's out of his life. Kind of interesting how he's, like, mentioning that so much. A lot.
Or for this kind of late attempt that is very pathetic in men. I'd rather die with a little less babies. Let's say you have the hypothesis that on average I could make a trip to Thailand and I would perhaps have a shot at making 0.05 babies. In the sense that 95% of the cases, I will find myself with a prostitution situation where I'm getting drained money. 5% of the chance is a real woman who would come back with me and build a family.
Less than that. Way less.
This 0.05 babies is just
one investigation breakthrough from kind of like a bitch. I mean, honestly, it kind of is. And I kind of find it really interesting that he says, like, I'd rather die with at least having a few babies out there than, like, nuns at all. You know, with, like, 0.5 babies. Like, I mean, he's basically kind of implying that, like, if he basically have his, like, you know, life ruined behind a cell, then he would rather at least have, like, a few kids out there as his offspring, so to speak, than having none at all. Which he already, at least, you know, strongly, you know, likely has two already. Which he definitely honestly does.
Totally and that is pretty much what I explained to the girl who was initially very motivated to come live with me. I said, you know, I can't spend the next 5 months of my life on the phone every day with you building an emotional relationship.
Too busy for this.
Because you're already showing all these red flags. And, and I'm keeping a lot of red flags secrets here because I think it's hurting. It's a private life. But there were way too many red flags for me to say this is worth 5 months of work, energy, time. I mean, we're talking about, if you compare this with my rate when I do work, like I do a lot of money. I can make a lot of money when I work at this point.
I ain't got a time.
I have a lot of demand. I have infinite amount.
I'll get you pregnant. I'll move you in, but spending time with you, get to know you, that's too much to ask. I'm too...
That's just too much time for me to deal with. I cannot handle that. You must just basically be a handmaiden for me.
Of work ahead of...
Like, I swear, like, this basically looked at, like, this guy basically looked at the Handmaid's Tale. It's like, yep, that's it. That's how you do it.
Basically.
Which is basically, like, so many of these fucking weirdos. Like, they basically do essentially, like, at some point probably, like, watch the Handmaid's Tale and just, like, think, oh, yep, that's how you nail it. This is how you definitely, you treat, you know, people in society. Like, it's just such a weird fucking, like, creepy, disturbed way of, like, you know, treating people. It's just, like...
can work for
very,
something like
utterly
dehumanizing.
Rich.
So if I'm spending half the year trying to attach with you and trying to convince you of maybe you could come,
I don't do it.
that is what's my percentage return there? 10%, 5%,
2 babies,
and it's not like you're going to fundamentally.
That's like, you know, such a disturbed way of looking at it too. It's like, what is my percentage return investment in you coming over here? Blah blah blah. It's like, like, I mean, he basically literally sees it as strictly as a transaction. Like some sort of like cutthroat capitalist type or some shit. It's just so fucking disturbing. And really weird and very fucking telling of his very antisocial personality.
Always be
I got to
attached
kill you too.
You're
So
caring for your old age
can't be
mother
killing all kinds of women,
and
right?
living in whatever crap place you live. If you can't make that jump, that kind of leap of faith, you don't qualify cognitively to be with me. Because there will be a lot of...
It does see, like, we're gonna be talking, like, pause it. Don't be talking over him.
Leap of faith ahead. I mean, I have a crazy life. It's a
leaping,
crazy life that I
pushing.
fully protect my wives from.
Yeah, you protect them real well.
You can literally...
Wives? I mean, that's kind of a weird, interesting take. Does he, like, you know, want to have multiple wives?
Come with me, partner with me for the rest of your life, and you're going to experience 0 bumps from this crazy life I live. But what I do need, one thing I do need absolutely, is absolute loyalty. Loyalty against any force, against other women, against your woman friends, against your mother, against your father, against your...
And then what happens
against the government,
if you don't get
against
that?
the entire world, against the internet.
Basically, literally being loyal to nothing but him and just, like, you know, essentially it's like, you know, be part of the road bumps, you know, of essentially being resistant and, you know, challenging every form and aspect about society and just being totally and utterly isolated from any form of, you know, contact from the outside world. It's very hyper cult-like behavior.
Against everything. And, well...
Stand with me and be against everything.
And she wasn't...
So I can disseminate you privately, and if you fucking act up, I could kill you and ditch you somewhere.
One, and it's really too bad for her because it's... You know, it's you're really into the last phase of your life. She is at the age where she may have 3 babies if everything goes well and she starts now.
Only 3.
But if you're already starting March and oh yeah, maybe I'll visit you in March.
Probably 0
visit
babies.
me in March. That's visit me in 5 months from now.
I could be in prison by then.
I'll be
sorry
in prison.
I mean, if you want to visit me in March,
and I'm free.
Visit me in March, but I'm not talking to you on the phone until then. Because that you're asking me to invest, to outpour my...
You're going to probably want to get used to that because the only contact you're going to have with any woman that wants to spend my night with you is probably going to be for the phone, you know, when you're having a guest conversation, you know, over, you know, a prison phone call. That's going to last like 2 minutes.
Energy out there, which is high value on the market.
High value.
You're trying to get me to waste it, to throw it out the window. And
come visit him
I wouldn't
in prison.
say she's a fed. I don't think she's a fed, but it's kind of fed-like behavior.
Right.
You know, it's like,
to be intimidated
how do
by
I
a
tell
murderer?
the difference between a journalist who's trying to make a story about me and a real woman who wants to build a family?
No woman wants to build a family
I had
with you.
to ask myself this question this morning.
Yeah, it's easy.
What's the difference? Let's say this girl is a Newsweek journalist, and she's been
I mean, the weird, like, paranoia that he has where he thinks that this chick is probably, like, you know, some journalist or some shit, really kind of, I think, speaks volumes, you know, to his guilt. Like, he's willing to try to, like, you know, justify and, like, you know, downplay any form of, like, element of suspicion that, you know, could potentially be like, oh, this is someone trying to crack into me and stuff, by just saying, like, oh, they could probably just be a journalist and this and that. So, you know, like, any tiny little thing that I view as off, you know, is just basically a red flag. And, you know, and really what he's doing here is just downplaying that. But, you know, he's kind of implicitly saying, it's like, no, I kind of believe that this is probably a journalist or a Fed or something like that, and this isn't a real person. Which, honestly, you know, is probably, you know, like, for the better. Like, he probably should think that, because it probably likely is, like, you know, a law enforcement agent, you know, pretending to be somebody to potentially at least get him out of the house so they can search his place without him knowing.
She's been told, make a story about JF. We want you to become JF's girlfriend and take us through the process of what is life with JF.
Definitely. This is reality.
The thing is, the way you differentiate is by coming inside of her without a condom.
Hey, maybe she's a really good journalist.
While being sure that she's not taking pills.
How are you going to make sure that she's not taking pills?
That's how you differentiate.
I mean, hey, how are you going to make sure of that? Because, I mean, she could stay awake while you're asleep and then just take one while you're asleep. Like, I mean, how are you going to know that, you fuck? What, you going to stay up all night until she falls asleep and then, like, you know, search all of her shit?
Journalist from a real woman. And if I can't get that verification within the first few weeks, and, you know, I would say the first week if you're physically close to me, but I can give some leeway to someone who's in another country and who has to go through some amount of bureaucracy and everything. Saturn Shine says, you're too mechanical about sex, Jeff. Mechanical. What's not mechanical in our world?
All right, so
I mean, like that video we were looking at from earlier, from DB and shit that they react to. I mean, it's kind of a weird validation, you know, like I was saying, like, he does view sex as, like, strictly as, like, a mechanical utilitarian thing, strictly for, like, breeding. That's all he strictly thinks of it. It's like, what isn't the mechanical about our world? Like, he strictly thinks as, you know, everything in a weird utilitarian, hyper materialistic sense of just, like, you know, for procreation and breeding type of sense. It's just, like, super fucking detached and, like, utterly, like, I mean, just overtly, like, dehumanizing it, you know, honestly, when it comes to, like, you know, how he treats people and how he at least perceives people.
Fucking creepy, y'all. Just pressuring this poor woman, or whoever this person is, and he wasn't done yet. He actually went on his Twitter feed to try to pressure her and publicly humiliate her even more, and just came off looking somehow even more pathetic than he does in this video.
And probably even more crazy. Suspicious.
I'm loading up Kiwi Farms. Remember Kiwi Farms? They're doing a in-depth deep dive, and they're helping me crowdsource all my information. So he got on his Twitter feed and he actually posted this. Like, this makes him look good. Like, he's trying to teach the other men who are following him how to be an alpha male, how hard it is. He says,
whoa,
I'm not publishing this to shame the lady who I'm replying to. She's great, just a little too undecided. I'm sharing it for you men, just so you know how hard you have to go to get that extra baby. As long as white men have to write these like this just to reproduce, we're doomed. Yeah, I can't.
That is just like another extra level of freaky. Like, what the fuck? Like, everything that he says is just always, like, really freaky, like, detached, and just, like, really disturbed.
Paragraphs to try to talk this woman into leaving her family and coming to Canada so I can get her pregnant. And he basically says a lot of the same shit he just said, but look how strange and pathetic this is, folks. This is his DMs to this woman he's trying to pressure. All of this emotional framing does not resolve the situation, which is that if you are not in the mindset to follow my lead immediately towards the building of a family, you'll be too old to start a large family by the time you accept to follow it. I've watched the video already, and it's a good speech about redacted. But here, I have to see if you are willing to put in sacrifices like I do. I already put myself out there for 1 hour per day for almost my whole adult life. There literally isn't a corner of my inner self that's left to discover. You have plenty more information on me than I have on you. You have my public personality. So the risk that I take in investing efforts into an uncertain relationship are, I find, much bigger on my side than yours. In fact,
then I wonder why. Especially considering that you're a public personality, you probably don't want certain things revealed to the public.
Nothing that you are doing now.
At least way more so than the average person. Like, because obviously there's plenty of things that, people don't want out there in public, obviously, because obviously I don't. But, like, there's definitely plenty of factors, that are a little bit more extra in comparison to just, like, make sure that people don't want to know things. Like, very specific, like, deep skeletons in a closet, or I guess in this case, out in the Canadian wilderness, probably.
By my side in Canada. So it's hard to identify what keeps you there. On top of it, I'm covering all the expenses. It boils down to this. I have made my...
I'll go to the bathroom quick, but I'll keep it playing.
Estimations of the red flags in your case, your age, our religious differences, your attachment to your mother, your attachment to redacted, your attachment to your redacted, and I estimate there is a 5% chance you are a Fed, 20% chance you are a New York Times journalist, and a 70% chance you are none of these, but for some reason you won't want to build a family with me, which you'll decide somewhere between now and some future time point, after which I will have invested my time, energy, and perhaps even money at entertaining this relationship. It's just not worth it on an open-ended commitment from your side without deadlines and specifications, and it's not worth it if all of it is with a deadline for meeting in March, just meeting, not even breeding. So you tell me some other deal and I'll be ready to hear it. But under the current conditions, which I'm not highlighting to annoy you or criticize you, but just so you understand my perspective on things, how could I share my true self with someone who I have to show defiance towards until she's pregnant? And who appears to be willing to take all the sacrifices from me while doing none on her side. Here's one thing that could facilitate all of it on both sides. You are wondering where you want to live and whether you want to make the jump to Canada. Sure, I can understand that. It's tough. On my side, I'm wondering if you'll ever carry my baby. So let's get this resolved. Why don't we reproduce now without commitment from you that you'll move to Canada? That way I can be sure you're not a New York Times journalist and that my emotional investment is worth reproductive benefits. Then I'll be totally willing to invest months or years to talk to you on the phone while you choose whether or not you want to live with me. Best JF. Holy shit. Is this not exactly what a murderer would say? Just trying to get this girl alone, separate her from her family, doesn't care what she looks like, doesn't care who she is. Just let me impregnate you immediately, and then I'll know you're trustworthy and loyal. It's like a serial killer, right? It's like the French-Canadian version of The Hills Have Eyes. Just these weird, creepy weirdos, right? Crazy. And so then he decided to do another interview, and the interview was mostly boring. The guy didn't ask him very many questions. They talked about his stupid fucking book, which is lame as shit. But he does give a little bit of information about what's going on in his life. He mentions that the cops have come and taken him to the police station, and they have filmed an interrogation where they hardcore interrogated him. So remember, his whole story is nobody should think that he's guilty because the police have his electronic evidence that he's given them, and they don't think he's guilty. They don't think he's even a suspect. So,
which I think is a little interesting. So that kind of confirms that at least, to some extent, they do have at least, some, evidence from their electronic devices. Which at least implies that they at least, had a warrant for, some of the electronics that he had and were able to at least, gather more evidence from that. Which means that they certainly are kind of cracking more of the case, when it comes to JF here. And now that they also, had him in for questioning too, that also kind of implies that they know a little bit more, when it comes to the evidence, about him. What? Shut up. You have food and water? You were just outside with me a minute ago. Shush. Jeez. Goddamn. Fucking little mutt. But as I was saying though, like, they definitely, know that he is very likely, a culprit. They're just basically, buying enough time to gather as much evidence as possible to, gain enough of a probable cause.
Who are professionals, who are the best among us, don't think in any way he's a suspect, and all you fucking low IQs out there don't know what you're talking about. But obviously,
you low intelligent idiots.
He's a fucking suspect. You don't haul a guy down to the station, interrogate him on camera. You don't park out in front of his house for a fucking week. And also, the husband is literally always the first one you suspect in a situation like this, where a wife disappears and then says, "Oh, I'm going off the grid forever, and I'm never contacting you or my 2 infant children again." So it just doesn't pass the smell test. But here he is. Unfortunately, we don't know anything from the cops yet, because the cops haven't released their side of the story in any way.
Man, I can't wait until, like, the whole investigation is kind of all said and done a little bit, because, like, that, some true crime channels on YouTube are going to take advantage of this. They're going to eat this right up. Like, I know at some point, like, one of the channels I follow, Explorer Fuzz, will certainly probably have a fucking, like, video about this at some point. That'll probably be, like, 2 hours long. Like, if anything, we'll probably check that out, because, one day, whenever that happens to be, because, it will show all the interrogation footage and shit, and to see all of that, oh, we're gonna eat that right the fuck up. I mean, honestly, wherever that, when it's all said and done, whatever interrogation footage is out there, we're gonna eat that shit right the fuck up, because, like, oh my god. Because I'm not gonna lie, man, this is a very interesting story, all in all.
About this is what he himself has.
I mean, it literally is just like a true crime story in the making. It's just like, what the fuck?
Told us about this situation. What the hell
it's
is
wild.
This thing? I thought it was on that. It must be jumping around here on this post somewhere. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, find it.
Very important. It's okay if I can't find it. I'll just go. The video is unavailable. Okay, here we go. It did move. So here he is mentioning that the police have come and taken him to the station and interrogated him.
One of our last questions, what does your day look like? Because I've seen you mention on some of your content that you stay up very late, that you sleep, you're kind of a night owl. What does a day look like for you, a normal day?
Well, these days, a day involves a police interrogation about my disappeared wife.
Holy crap.
Just to reassure them that I'm not a murderer. Yeah. So that was actually what happened. Today again. Today they called me and I went to the station and they wanted further details from me. So yes, I mean this has been taking a lot of my time in the last 2 weeks.
I bet.
But other than this, I'm really a fundamental.
Yeah, other than this, I'm totally normal.
Yeah, it's just like, I just basically do my day-to-day business, but I've been basically taking it for questioning for a couple hours, taking a lot of time as the day. Yeah, for the best this way. It's like, I mean, I wonder why. For someone who says that the police see you as so innocent, do you think that it could be just because they're trying to butter you up? Like, there is this whole thing called the read technique, you son of a bitch, and for someone who supposedly is into true crime, because JF supposedly said that, like, you know what that is, which is a way to gain, like a sense of rapport, and like a sense of, of an idea that, like, hey, I'm not really, like, against you. I'm on your side because we're just trying to figure out what's going on, type of shit. Like, it's the idea of, like, letting, the suspect's guard down so they unintentionally can maybe potentially lead to a confession. Like, that's kind of the idea. And there's a lot of aspects to the whole read technique. There's a lot of shit that goes into it. It was initially done by, like, John Reed back in, like, the 60s, or at least, when it comes to the whole technique and shit. He's the one who, theorized it. And a lot of law enforcement investigators use it because, frankly, it does kind of fucking work. I mean, it's something that, as a technique has, helped, lead to a lot of cases being solved, by a lot of suspects generally leading to confessions of the crimes they commit and stuff. Like, I mean, if you look at a lot of true crime videos and stuff, I mean, a lot of investigators, when it comes to interrogation footage, you know, more often than not, they're using the read technique, you know, to, you know, get to the bottom of the case. And there's a reason why, because it does kind of work. And there's a reason for it, because it's a way to potentially, you know, see if there's any plot holes or, you know, to your alibi, and see if there's any potential slip-ups where you might unintentionally reveal evidence, you know, to the whole case. That's the point. And, you know, eventually catching you off guard, and the next time they call you in, and then say, hey, there's some holes here, you know, can you explain that? And then, you know, crack you, and then eventually lead you to a fucking confession. That's the whole idea. That's the whole point.
The wife killing and the continuous investigation.
Like, that's honestly the reason why they're, you know, he probably thinks that is because they're using the whole read technique idea, because they're trying to kind of butter it up and not make it seem like, you know, he's the bad guy, so to speak, even though he actually is. You know, that's the whole idea. They're trying to get to a confession of it. And also, when it comes to the confession part, it still also applies at that point, because, you know, they want to try to see, it's like, hey, well, you did it, but look, we know that, like, people slip up, people have, you know, good people do bad things, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's, you know, people, you know, like, investigators will use techniques like that as a way to get more details out of the specific way of how, you know, they did the crime. You know, so they can make sure they can kind of, maximize, you know, every piece of the puzzle, so to speak, outside of whatever evidence they already do have. Because, I mean, even if they technically have the evidence to piece all the pieces of the puzzle together, they still want to hear from the suspect's voice. They still want to hear from them. Like, they want to, like, you know, get it from them specifically, so it's all, like, kind of wrapped up in the perfect bow, basically. That's kind of the whole idea.
Interrogation by the police. I'm just a normal dude. Holy God, y'all. So, like I said,
totally a normal guy.
For the police yet, so we have to take.
And it's been
Jeff
rewarding me so.
word for what's happening here, so we can only gleam through the one-sided narrative he is trying to put out there.
Which has also been contradictory, you know, in different times, you know, especially when it comes to the whole story that he's put out there for what has happened to Elora. Because, I mean, you know, I'm going to try to at least use her name more instead of Pop Mama JF or whatever. Because I feel like, at least, you know, honestly, considering the circumstances, this is probably a little more respectful. But, like, when it comes to her, like, I mean, you know, with Elora, like, you know, it's, you know, like, one of those things where it's just like, you know, it's just a fucking, I don't even know, like, what was I even about to say? My brain just had a fucking brain fart, whatever. But, like, I mean, whatever, my brain just had a fucking fart.
Where he talks about, apparently he's done very well in Bitcoin. And then he goes on to talk about, hey, apparently when they went and interrogated me, they had all my financial files. They knew everything about me already. Seems like you might be a suspect there, JF Garapay.
Much in my life. I mean, I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't of crypto. Thanks to crypto, I have a family. I have I have financial health.
You crypto bro.
I have
Gross.
reserves. I have so much reserves that I can give to, you know, that you know, I can help people. I can make things happen. I can invest. I can build things like the greenhouse.
So why don't you? I mean, if you supposedly have all these reserves and you could be such a good person, then why don't you then, buddy?
So yes.
I mean, supposedly, if you know, have all these type of things, and you could do all this good, then, you know, it seems like you are, well, obviously a very antisocial sociopathic fuck. So it seems like you're very selfish about, you know, not wanting to do that. Kind of a self-admission too about like how you know, like hyper selfish he is, and how like even if he does help people, he don't.
Crypto has always been rewarding, so my confidence has been partly acquired across the years because it's been outperforming everything. DK Shadow says, "Yep."
I'm pretty sure it really hasn't.
Fiat off-ramps are the choke points. Help me, JF. Help me by giving me free monies. But I won't. But,
of course you
know,
Yeah, so man, like, there was like a fan who was just like simping so hard and begging, like, please give me free monies because they're just that pathetic. Like, and he's like, nah, I don't want. You did not meet the qualifications.
I can be generous with the people who serve me in life, the people who want to undertake.
Seems like your fan there is willing to serve you, so don't that meet the qualification?
Reproduction with me, people who want to take
that's
my
why.
sperm. I can be generous to them.
Definitely.
But DK Shadow, I think you don't qualify. Yeah, what makes me so confident? The technology is superior. It's superior, especially in a world where regular money doesn't mean much anything.
Right. He's about to also lay out more of his woman hating, where he thinks women could just take your money at any moment. The judge could just give them half your shit, which he seems like he's very much against. It might make him a bit homicidal if somebody trying to take his kids or his money.
You have
probably
so much ways people can get at it. The state can get at it.
Your wife.
Judges can get at it.
Your baby mama.
In fact, when I went to the police 2 days ago for a further interview about Mama JF.
Interrogation, yes.
And this time they filmed me on camera. They
Can't wait to see that footage.
all of our financial records. I never gave my consent to it.
Tough
And I'm not saying I feel.
Yeah, they don't need your consent. It's called a fucking warrant. If they have a warrant to check your financial records, then they can easily check that without you knowing about it.
Violated.
You
but
are sort of.
Everyone knows that with the operations that you do at the bank, they will eventually have it if they want. And so they had, and let us remind ourselves, with no evidence that Mama JF is dead. Like
Curious how he worded that. No evidence that she's dead.
I could understand if they're pursuing a crime. Up to now, as far as I'm concerned, there is no evidence of a crime against
As far as you're concerned.
Mama JF having been committed.
He seems very confident the body is not going to be found, but
Yeah, very confident that, in himself, but it's like everyone else says otherwise. So who's the crazy one there, motherfucker? Who's the guilty one there, bitch?
it doesn't feel right when you say stuff like this, JF, because
especially with the verbiage that you're using. Like, the verbiage, he's using and the words that, he's using specifically, very, it's very fucking telling. Like, he's basically implying it's like, oh, well, she's out there somewhere, but there's no evidence of her dead. Wink, wink. Which means, and kind of implies, that there's evidence that she's dead. And he knows that. Like, why would he say it like that if he didn't know there was evidence that she was dead? Like, that's kind of a very telling thing for him to say. Like, in a normal circumstance, if you're just some Joe Schmo or whatever the fuck, that isn't involved in anything, you just kind of, say a weird slip in verbiage, that's one thing. But if you're, like, suspected of a crime, especially a murder, and you're the primary suspect, especially in a case like this, and you slip up like that, that's fucking telling. That's a different scenario right there. That's a different dog in the woods right there. Like, so that's that's very telling with what he's saying right there. That's implying that he knows there's evidence that she's dead, and he hasn't said anything about it outside of the occasional little slip up here and there with the contradiction of his alibi.
If she's missing and been missing for 4 months, they're going to do an investigation. They're going to look at it like there could be foul play, and you are going to be a suspect. The fact that you're pretending like none of this is true makes you look so much more guilty.
And they have all of our financial records, and they're like, McDonald, March 30. Was that you? Yeah.
You're interrogating me about my wife's
disappearance.
disappearance.
Go to McDonald's.
So funny.
It's
a fake laugh.
All this
so
to say,
it's very nervous laughter, and this type of shit, and his weird little mannerisms are very telling. And that, like, that investigation or that interrogation that was recorded, there was some damning stuff that was said there. There was some back and forths in that interrogation that he does not want released. Like, when all's said and done, it probably will. And he knows it's fucking damning. Because he's kind of squirming around a lot. Nervous laughter, the weird little scratches. Like, he's nervous about it. He's got a lot of anxiety about this whole thing.
The financial system as it stands has been parasitized. It's been totally taken over.
So let's go ahead and skip ahead a little bit more of this same exact conversation where he's talking about this. So apparently he took a trip a couple months back to Quebec for 4 days, and they have all this financial trail. If you've been following the dusty hypothesis of this case, I believe Alora was killed sometime early June, late May. So,
which I think that's accurate.
He had plenty of time to plan for this. Several months later, who knows what he went to Quebec for? Apparently, the police think he might have gone to dispose of pieces. I have no idea, but they're definitely looking into it. Here he is mentioning it.
I mean, I don't know if, like, I kind of think potentially, like, Prince Edward Island is probably where she's probably disposed of. But, I mean, if for some reason he's had her, like, just stored in, like, some freezer or some shit, I mean, that would be even more fucking disturbing, to be frank.
Oh, yeah, since I just told the story of the finances with my interrogation with the police, I forgot to tell you guys a detail, which was hilarious.
So funny. We are fake laughing, y'all.
At the beginning of August, you might remember that I took 4 days of break to drive to Quebec to go see family.
You did? Seems suspicious.
And I did. And the policeman from the major crimes unit of the feds in Canada.
Oh, feds are after
a high-level guy, you know, a very straight guy who was good in his questioning, I have to say.
Seems bad, Jeff.
But he...
Oh, I'm sure he probably is.
At my financial records, which he already had without my consent.
You said it already.
And
it's called a warrant, bitch.
He's like, $400 at Yannick Fromagerie. This was a $400 bill of cheeses that I've bought when I drove to Quebec. That, you know, I talk about this on the show. You guys know. When I came back from Quebec, I had $400 of cheeses. And they were in my fridge, and I was eating them and using them.
That's kind of contradictory to the idea of liking the empty fridge, you know, considering your initial alibi. I remember that from when I last, you know, checked up on this shit. Like, you were complaining about how much, you know, Laura fucking, you know, stored the fucking fridge with random vegetables and shit like that. And now you're, like, you know, talking about, oh, you spent $400 worth of cheeses to store in your fucking fridge. That wouldn't necessarily make sense if, the, you know, the fridge was already, you know, heavily stocked up from, you know, times prior, and now mysteriously, like, you know, it's all, like, seems a little suspicious there, isn't it?
Them with family since the beginning of August. In fact, they didn't last much.
Oh,
I ate this $400 of cheese in maybe a month.
Oh, that tracks. I can see that.
But oh my
like,
god!
What, like, I mean, how little cheese did you have? Like, what was it? Artisan cheese?
It's good, and so I'm like,
doubt it.
Yeah. Every time I go to Quebec, I buy $400 of cheese.
So, I mean, that laughter really strongly suggests that is just fucking a lie. And it's just meant to be like some weird joke to him. Which implies that he probably used that $400 for some other shit. That's very atypical.
Damn, it's so fake, dude.
And he's like, that's very interesting.
They think you're a suspect, JF.
No shit.
They don't believe your alibi.
And so it's like we're talking about a disappearance investigation. And the whole I have the news the mainstream news media titling "White Supremacist Wants to Control Women."
That's true.
Right. You know, basically framing me as a murderer.
I mean,
because you probably are. And you're a white supremacist woman controlling piece of shit, and you're a fucking freak, so you probably are a murderer.
the feds are like, we have to go hard on this guy. But all they have is that I did buy some cheese, yes, in Quebec, and I did go to McDonald's.
That's not all they have. I have more than that.
I guarantee you they have way more than that, you fuck. Like, I guarantee you this whole $400, like, you know, monetary charge he's talking about is probably to other things, and he just wants to dismiss it as just cheese.
To you, JF.
Guilty. Oh,
yeah, you are.
God, it's hard not to laugh here at
the mother.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be laughing my ass off once I find out you're fucking guilty, there, bitch. Yeah, I'm gonna speed up just a little bit, just a smidge. Just because honestly, this fuck is so slow and boring when it comes to his talking and shit, and like you just get for a cooker.
Right shoulder is missing, y'all. It's hard not to laugh. It's just so funny how much she's missing and hasn't been seen in 6 months.
It's just so funny how I was just able to kill it and get, you know, at least as far as that concerned, get away with it, you know, maybe. At least that's what I think.
When they come at you with these questions. Justin Carlson says, Jesus Christ.
So funny.
You should start buying more and more bizarre stuff.
You can tell he's faking from the eyes. Your eyes are not laughing, JF.
Yeah, like, it's all nervous laughter. Like, I mean, he's just trying to play it off as, like, oh, we're just all having fun here.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious, but probably illegal, you know? You start buying, like, 10 bottles of bleach.
Sheetrock, stuff to repair your...
I mean, yeah, that's a fake fucking laugh, and that is a very weird example that he says. Like, yeah, it's like buy 10 bottles of bleach. Is that a little omission, buddy? Because you probably did, you know, when you had to clean up your fucking, you know, entire house to renovate it, right?
Like you did.
Oh my God, I can't believe that they're going that hard. Without evidence of a crime. Like,
I can't believe they didn't find the body. I thought if I hid the body really good where nobody could find it, they would never come after me. I can't believe they're trying to find her. It's just such a mystery, isn't it? Like, it's like he has never lived in the fucking world we live in.
Shown them the last words of Mama Jeff to me. And
they
it's
don't
really
believe you.
I'm going to disappear.
Yeah, that's not normal. It's not normal for a woman who just had 2 kids, has a husband, has a house, has all her stuff there, which you've said, has money, to just get up and say, I'm disappearing off the face of the earth and no one's ever going to hear from me again. That's not fucking normal, JF, okay?
Yeah, no one believes you when you say that, buddy. That's the problem. Like, no one believes the bullshit that you're saying.
Why can't you get this in your goddamn head?
I'm not going to have my cell phone anymore. Well, it seems that what happened is what she wanted to happen, you know? It's not like she disappeared and...
It is exactly like that.
And did...
I mean, it's kind of just like, you know, a little bit of a weird, you know, another bit of verbiage. It's like, I guess what she wanted to happen decided to happen. It's like, what the fuck do you think that is? Like, what do you think that is, JF? Like, I mean, what, she decided to just, like, up and leave after having 2 children? Like, that seems a little fucking odd, wouldn't you think? Especially considering that, you know, she wouldn't just, like, fall off the fucking map for, like, 4+ fucking months.
The message. She left a message that was stating her decision to disappear.
Right.
All right, so she has these...
I have another hypothesis that maybe JF had an accomplice, not in the murder, but like apparently somebody is looking after his kids. He's definitely not looking at the kids the whole time. He brags about sleeping late. They got 2 babies. So people have hypothesized that his mom lives with him, or he also lives in a neighborhood with his brothers or some shit. It'd be very easy for him to say, hey, can you take this phone, drive 2 hours away, turn it off, and then when you get there, turn it back on and send me a text that says this, and then I'll be at home, surfing porn or whatever, leaving myself a trail, make it look like I'm at home, do my usual shit. I'll be researching stuff for my next show, and then I'll immediately respond, and we'll have a short conversation back, and then turn the phone off and throw it the fuck away. There's my alibi. It's so simple to do that, JF. The cops clearly don't fucking believe you. In fact, according to...
I mean, honestly, I do think that is probably a possibility. Like, maybe his, you know, like one of his brothers, you know, probably, you know, was an accomplice to some extent. I mean, that is a strong possibility.
They're about to haul you in for a lie detector test. The cops don't haul people in for lie detector tests they think are innocent. Even if you are innocent, lawyer up, dipshit.
Decided to disappear electronically. And I told them again in the interview, maybe she has changed identity. She may have completely changed her look.
And this
maybe she was tired of being...
What, she decided to do, like, you know, some, like, face swap type of shit and, like, have a total fucking, like, you know, like, you know, plastic surgery thing where she looks totally different? Like, I mean, like, that's just insane. That's not what she would do.
Stupid. It's such a fucking stupid excuse. Hey, this is why she's never going to contact anybody. She decided to change her identity. She decided no one is ever going to hear from her again. It just doesn't pass the smell test, JF.
Wanted to be a different person. Quebecensis says, Papa JF, if the boys are doing a taped interview, your situation is more serious than you realize. You need a liar.
Hey.
I mean,
But his whole thing is, hey, I'm innocent. I'm totally innocent. And if you get a lawyer, that makes you look guilty. So if I'm going to keep pretending I'm innocent and my story makes sense and it's true, then I got to keep doing my show. I can't stop doing my show. But I just got to get out here and just lean into it and laugh about it, do my fake laugh and pretend like I'm not worried. I'm just completely calm about everything. But holy God, it's not going well, JF.
I get it that these taped interviews are, they are what you see on the Crimes Channel and all.
I'm totally going to dissect every second of it once that's released, dude.
Get it, but that doesn't mean that they have a case against me to bring in court. And
it means they're trying to build a case against you.
Yeah, they're trying to build one, and they have probably a strong case against you there, buddy.
To bring to court, Jeff.
And you have fucking nothing.
I know that I've not committed a crime. That's why I'm up for doing the lie detector, which I'll do next week, maybe this week, indeed.
So obviously he's looked at lie detectors and he knows lie detectors are bullshit. We all know that. Lie detectors are just a way to further interrogate somebody. You basically just do it, go through the question, like, oh, you were kind of deceptive on this. Anything you want to tell me? We're just not believing you, JF, based on this lie detector test. It doesn't look like you're telling the truth. Confess, JF, confess. It's all just a tool to put pressure on you. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, lie detectors are basically a form of pseudoscience, but I mean, there is like but they are at least, used as kind of like a tactic, as a way to kind of like, potentially, get a suspect to slip up a little bit. I mean, it's more or less kind of used as a tactic more so than as like strict evidence.
It's really a court of law. So clearly he knows this. He knows they're going to use this in a court of law against him. And as long as he doesn't buckle at the end when they say, you're not telling the truth, he'll be completely fucking fine. But killers always think they're smarter than cops anyway. So they're always willing to talk and talk and talk and talk. This is True Crime 101.
Yeah, I know.
And he's certainly, no stranger of just talking on and on and on about it.
And I know that it's not even close. Like, I know that there could be situations in which you have to be careful, even if you know that you haven't committed the crime.
All of them. Because even if you haven't done anything.
And that's also pretty curious, too. It's like, you have to be very cautious and very careful, even if you haven't committed a crime. He's not saying, it's like, you have to be very careful because I haven't committed a crime, but I still want to be very careful about this type of stuff. It's like, because you can even be, he doesn't, the way he's phrasing this is basically kind of implying that there is, at the end of the day, always going to be some level of fucking guilt with him.
Bringing you in and
because there is.
Filming, getting shit, lie detector testing you. They're building a case against you. And if you didn't do it, you doubly need to get a fucking lawyer.
Like, if you know that the person has been murdered and they've been murdered close to your house, I wouldn't be as loose as I am.
But that's your whole alibi.
Then, I mean, they could find DNA.
They could.
They could find DNA and associate it to me, even if I haven't committed the crime. Like, I may have touched Mama JF. Now she dies 1 hour later by some murderer, and now I look like the murderer suddenly.
You do look like the murderer.
But in this particular case...
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how you phrase that. It's like, I touched you, and I look like a murderer. It's like, I mean, yeah, because you probably are, you piece of shit. Sukov, just get over here. Get over here, little fruit. Oh my god, whatever.
Talking about someone who has clearly stated her intent
to
me, while she was very far from me.
Could have easily been
there is plenty of record that will place me hundreds of kilometers away from Mama JF.
Why do the cops not believe you then? Why are the cops bringing you in for a lie detector test and filmed interrogations if they believe you, JF?
Whatever happened to her? And on top of it, we don't have her body. We have her statement that she wanted to disappear.
That is very strange. Another, he's kind of like in a weird way slipping a little bit. It's like we don't have our body. It's another, weird admission that it's like he knows that she's dead, but is not willing to, overtly confess. Like, he's not exactly confessing to it, but he's implying that he knows that she's dead. And he knows something about that. Like, the way he's saying this type of shit heavily implies that he knows something.
So, in these circumstances, it's going to be very hard for this. You can film me, you can lie detect me all you want. it's going to be very hard to
Nobody
to
no
mount
case.
a case against me for anything.
He's
Mark,
already
these-
No, it's not.
Played all this in. Hey, they don't have a body, so at the very worst, maybe they could try to get me to plead to something, and I'll just play it down with something where I only get 2 years in Canadian jail, and I'll be like free and clear to impregnate whoever I want to after that. It's
Which, considering that, there is probably a lot of strong circumstantial evidence against him, I don't think that's going to be likely. And I honestly do think it'll be only a matter of time until they find her.
his calculation here.
This channel says lying to the feds is a crime. It does not matter about what. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
I
Which
know,
you're doing a
that's why
lot.
I'm not lying. I'm never lying. I'm
Never lied.
being super transparent. with
Definitely.
that.
Which is not saying honest. You're saying transparent, but not honest. That's not, which implies that you're at least, lying to some extent.
Totally.
DK Shadow says Jeff can teleport or he's a master hacker. That's the only rational explanation for the lack of evidence. Yes, the surgeon.
We have no idea what the evidence is yet. The only thing we know about this case literally comes from the guy who probably did the crime.
The surgeon JF. Surgeon General. Synagogue presidents.
All right, and one more quick clip I want to show you guys is the... Oh, no! He did it, guys! He did it! He found another woman to inseminate. This time, way less creepy somehow. So, deal is off, 39-year-old woman who I don't even know what you look like. It's off because a new woman immediately, who was clearly real, is going to move in with me in Canada and take my dick.
Another one.
Sorry. Ruffman says, what about 33-year-old female JF? Taylor Swift is 33 years old and has not made any babies. JF, will you help Taylor out by making an offer of insemination?
Dude, that is so fucking weird. Like, Taylor Swift has no babies. She's 33. Try to, encourage her to be inseminated by you. Dude, Taylor Swift would probably beat the fuck out of you with her guitar or some shit, dude.
Make offers of inseminations anymore. I can only honor the standing offers, and my standing offer...
She would, pepper spray you right directly in your fucking eyeballs, directly under your eyelids, and then beat the shit out of you with her guitar, bro.
For Pearl is expiring
Fucking
in November,
mutant.
I believe,
Or
or
Pearl.
December. It's going to be the end because I have
Wait, just pearly things?
found someone who's interested at getting inseminated.
Totally.
And so
Say
I must,
inseminated again. I love
will
it.
simply honor the obligations that are out there. I am still willing to inseminate Pearl if she wants to become a productive mother
Or I guess that's the other lady.
and breeder.
So normal.
But if she doesn't take her chance,
Take a chance, bro.
up to November, December, it's going to be the limit because my dick will be elsewhere.
Go be elsewhere.
I have a
I mean,
commitment
that is... It's just...
of insemination that has been accepted and scheduled.
Hey, a verbal contract. That's legit.
I have, made a side of contract for insemination, to make sure that I can please with this cattle.
It seems to be a woman
Dude, he's such a fucking inhuman freak,
who
dude.
wants to have a serious, lifelong marriage. So we
Lifelong.
will
That'll
see.
be short.
We'll see how, because woman will tell you this, of course.
Yeah, fucking
We'll see
women.
if she can deliver on this, but I will not. Popcorn Power says, would JF consider inseminating a gay man if his current offer doesn't work out?
Geniuses, these people.
No. Why would I inseminate a gay man? That wouldn't lead to a baby.
Which kind of implies that he would if it did.
Dino Legovich says, does JF have an agent for his dick? No, I make all of my own reservations. Master Slave says, JF is playing the artificial scarcity marketing ploy.
He's so
That is
weird.
interesting. It's
Dude, these people are fucking just lost. There is no saving anyone here.
but it's not what I'm
If this guy's
The people that follow this guy are just beyond saving.
innocent, dude, you look so guilty. You're so creepy. Just a slime ball slug, leaving a snail trail everywhere. Holy God!
I mean, it's more slimy than a snail trail. It's the most toxic, sludgiest, radioactive slime sludge that you would ever see. It's
That's what I already played most of it for you at the beginning of the show as the little teaser. But here he is talking about how easy prison will be for him. He's like, I didn't do it. But if they
even though he would definitely be a prison bitch or get shivved.
I'm hard as fuck, y'all.
Have you seen the unsolved murder of Beverly Lynn Smith? Worth a watch. Canadian government used the polygraph to pursue an innocent man because he was nervous taking it. I heard you say you would take one because you've nothing to hide, but your government is crazy twisted. Be careful, bro. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, they have committed that they wouldn't use that in a trial, so...
Yeah, they can't, but...
I think that the worst that can happen is that, let's say I would generate a false positive, a false detection of deception.
False.
I would just have a bunch of policemen very convinced that I killed Mama Jada.
They already are.
Yeah, they already are, dude, you motherfucker. Like, I mean, like, dude, the police as it stands now are very strongly, convinced that you're the fucking main primary suspect and you did the killing. They're just trying to build as much of a fucking, case against you to fucking convict you, you piece of shit.
God, I can live with that.
Right, who cares?
There's already millions of people convinced that I killed Mama
Not
Jada.
millions, but
it's not going to be
us.
a couple of extra policemen. That will make me cry.
But it'll make me cry because I love this back the blue, and if the blue betray me, that'll be sad and make me cry.
No, I will have to check the story. I will keep it as a note. The unsolved murder of Beverly Lynn Smith. Because then my question to you would be, did they admit this as evidence in the trial?
They did not.
Because that would be illegal, from my understanding.
Right. But they still use it as a basis.
New guy says, RCMP are fishing, JF prudence. They're definitely fishing because...
No, they're not.
I've given them plenty of exculpatory evidence.
They don't believe you.
And at this point, they're like, oh, well, what if? What if Mama JF flew back or you drove 10 hours in the night?
I thought you said before they didn't speculate at all. They didn't suspect you a bit. They don't even do that, you were saying. Now it's totally different.
Yeah, kind of contradictory for what you said in the past.
And then you bought $400 of cheese? It's like, okay, you have reached a point where you are paranoid, my dear police.
We're also
friend
paranoid
here.
Jeff.
Let me reassure you. Let Papa reassure you. With the sweat of his finger. Let me show you that I can repeat my whole story.
Your story.
Without sweating too much.
I'm sure you can.
Without sweating too much.
Plug me on. Animus Uprising says, JF, true, only the police were convinced, but they pursued him mercilessly, ruined his life. But the Crown Judiciary did have to rule that their methods were inhuman and inadmissible in the end. Okay, so it was a good ending for him, I'm happy. Alphabet plunges 6% after Google Cloud results.
Jump ahead a little bit more. We talked about how easy candidate jail would be.
Opt-out. If people had an opt-out, serve prison time, would you try to maintain JFG tonight while in custody? I was thinking maybe we could have a restream nightly phone calls from inside. Here's the thing. I have thought of it because so many of you are telling me, JF, be careful. I want to be clear. This is the Canadian justice system. I didn't commit a murder, okay?
Didn't you? A little bit.
But if the Canadian justice system went after me, and if I was the victim of injustices, and if the jury were biased against me, and if all of those lies would work, and if I were to end up in jail, I wouldn't be in jail for a long time. Do you know that in Canada, the amount of time that they give you is already low, and on top of it, you make only a third of it. You can make a sixth of it if you're in good behavior. Like, worst.
Which is kind of telling, considering that, supposedly for someone who's so innocent, that, you're already kind of pre-planning the idea of you being in prison.
Scenario, if my craziness and my presence in the media and my kind of willingness to do comedy around this, if this costs 2 years of my life doing prime number research in Canadian jail,
killing my wife was worth it then. 2 years.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
She can take my shit or my kids.
It sucks, but it's like 2 years without incident.
It sucks that I am becoming the victim of of this case, even though I'm the victimizer and you're a killer. But if I can do it, then so be it. Then that's what it has to be. I can be let us as good behavior.
2 years not progressing in my life. But I'll do it. Unlucky Irish chick says Canadian...
And you probably won't make it out alive.
...law is gay compared to American law. Living in Quebec myself, I can testify to it. Jeff, what's your opinion on this? Yeah, I mean, definitely, the punishments are not harsh in Canada. And it's crazy how much they want to...
What, do you wish that they, were harsher? Because I'm pretty sure that you would really want it to be rehabilitative. You're pretty enthusiastic about it.
And I'd be like, if the system was so unjust that it was to find me guilty of a crime I didn't commit, I would still benefit from its generosity, presumably.
You're not getting convicted of killing my wife.
Curious.
I'm going to be benefited for it, so why not throw the dice and do it?
As JF will get great time served as the jailhouse educator. Exactly. I'll take these tough guys in the gym, and I'll teach them biology.
Yeah, those
Yeah, they'll definitely be learning some biology once they bend you over and make you the prison bitch, like the fucking cock sleeve that you'll be, you son of a bitch.
the gym gonna be teaching you some biology, dude. You might want to prepare for that shit. And anyway, moving right along. What else we got? Oh yeah, he had no inspiration for a show last night. Do a show tonight though, but it was all boring. I watched it right before I came on tonight, and it was dull as shit. So that's basically the gist of the new information I have on this case.
Which a lot of it basically is very telling. A lot of it is, now saying that basically and implying that, like, the police essentially have a very strong case against him. They've already interrogated him at least once, maybe twice, and at least, now going to do a lie detector test against him. And, the more that they build up against him, the more likely he's going to get fucking, tried against. And that's just, more the better. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's certainly guilty of her disappearance at the very minimal, and at worst, is guilty of her fucking death. Especially with how he's, verbally, specifically described, the overall situation. Especially when it comes to, like, there's still evidence that the body, they cannot find her, and blah, blah, blah. Like, the very specific way that, he describes it, just heavily implies that he knows that she's dead. Which is very fucking telling. But, anywho, we'll definitely have to do it again. Next time there's more updates. Because I guarantee there will be. But, I'm gonna get myself some food. All that fun shit. So, peace out. And, of course, I'll see y'all that next one. So, toodaloo, lava.